Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it happened. It finally happened after 6 months of waiting. The long nights, the fighting in the comments section against the Yay Fisher cult. We got receipts. Ray Fisher brought it to the table to prove that he is a man of honor that he claims to be. We're going to talk about that here on Hollywood After Dark. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to Hollywood After Dark. Today is Friday, the 15th of January, 2021. It's been a weird week. It's been a really weird week, right? As I've said multiple times, DC has kind of imploded while Marvel has reinvented itself with WandaVision. It's kind of a weird week for the scales to be where they are. But today, of all days, end of the week, of course, Ray Fisher dropped a hell of a little bombshell to showcase that he is a man of word, he is a man of honor, and he's been telling the truth this whole time. So we're going to talk about that, but real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to my channel members, the Hollywood After Dark family. What we got here is a few people. You can see your name right here clearly. If you are a narcissist like I am and you want to have your name on the screen, this is the way you do it. But I'm joined tonight by my good friend, the Poindexter Lounge, to go over this information, as well as to kind of hear his case about his unfortunate situation happening over on his channel. So, Enosh, you haven't had that good of a day.
I was actually pretty decent until about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it was actually going pretty decent. I was having a decent day. I was just moseying along. I was planning, live streams with my members and Patreons tomorrow. I was planning videos. I got an interview lined up for Monday. Ray Fisher dropped a big, huge bomb on everybody that I was like, hey, once I get done with this watch party thing, get that out of the way.
I was surprised. Like I saw that someone DM'd it to me because I was with my kids all afternoon and I didn't see it. And then I got DM'd to me and I'm all like, oh, did Enosh like freak out on the live stream again over this thing?
I was like, I got to do the watch party thing. It's like, it's a Marvel thing. Okay, I'll get by, but it'll be fine. I like Marvel too, but I'll do that. And then I'll get to the meaty stuff, this Ray Fisher stuff on my channel, where people expect it to be. No.
And then of course, you got flagged, that terrible flagging. And now what you were telling me beforehand is it's like they got you for like deceptive practices, like you were spamming. Which makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense. It makes,
because I mean, you know what I'm thinking? It's like, look, you guys have been ruffling some feathers with a certain, Mr. Zero and Mr. Cock. And maybe perhaps
put them together and you got Zero Cock.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure given, I'm not gonna, speculate about their anatomy or how.
The same.
But really, it's like it could be anything. I've seen a lot of comments come in this week in a video I did calling out the grifters here on YouTube, and for some reason, over the span of like yesterday and today, I started getting a lot of comments that were coming in from their fans. Like it popped up on one of their videos or something or whatever. And of course, most of those comments are hidden by YouTube, and I just leave them in purgatory because F them. I don't give a shit.
It's fun. It's fun to go back every once in a while when I get like just some kind of really good extreme one. I'll go back and just kind of read it every once in a while and smile.
Oh, dude, I had a couple years ago. I had 67,000 comments that were held for review.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding you. When everything happened a couple years ago, I had 67,000 comments that were held for review. And like some of these were like truly despicable, terrible comments people were saying about me. So I'm like, I'm not going to give you the time of day. No. And I also don't want to sit there and go through each one and like hide, whatever. But what's funny now is like, with this channel, a lot of comments are getting hidden, which is unfortunate. But on the mobile app, which is where I spend most of my time, I can't see all of. If there's a reply that gets hidden, I don't see it. So it's like, and I've been trying to like keep up with the conversation and been trying, and so if I respond to somebody, the system will flag it, and then I have to like come to my computer and like log in. I'm like, well, I'm not on it all the time. I don't always remember to check it. So it's really annoying. YouTube as a platform
really sucks.
It's better than it used to be.
Yeah,
it used to be like they used to now. Really suck. Yeah, they still need to work on that. But unfortunately, YouTube is a platform that does not always work in the way you want it to. And I'm pretty sure you guys will be able to appeal this and get past it. Because right now you can't even post any content.
I can't. I know, because even one of my Patreon or my members was asking me, "Hey, you got this thing scheduled for tomorrow. I hope that doesn't affect that." And I said, "Well, I'm probably going to have to postpone it, because even though I can get a hold of my Patreon, people, I can go through my members and see which ones I have contact info for and reach out to them. But it's not really fair to the ones that I don't."
Yeah.
And so I may do something tomorrow, I may not, but it is what it is. Worst case scenario, if they totally ignore me, apparently, I can't stream, I can't post, I can't post a comment on my community board, and I can't upload a video at all for a week.
Yeah, this is why it's really good for people if you want to follow your favorite creators, like do so on Twitter or on Facebook. Or wherever, like, Instagram or something where they can reach out. That's going to be maybe divergent or a little bit divested from YouTube itself, because this kind of stuff gets pretty crazy. But and I hope you get it done really quick, because I know you guys stream a lot, and I'm on your channel all the damn time.
I know, and I got a lot of stuff actually that I can work on. I've been trying to finish this song about the Snyder Cut, and so that's actually something that I'm going to be releasing in the next month. And so I got some time now. I can finish that and some other projects too. So maybe I get some stuff done.
Andrew here says hashtag free Poindexter Lounge. So there you go. You got some support. Tom Hanks, Paul Sack 69 says free. So there's that.
Free the ball sack.
I just want to quickly answer this, because before we dive in, Gamers X here asks, how do drive-in theaters do audio today as compared to the past where they put speakers on your car? It's all done through radio station.
Yeah.
So when I worked at the drive-in, we had both. We had speakers and we had the radio station. And so the speakers you'd be amazed at how many people would come in and just go, "Oh, I like the mono speaker that has got almost no sound amplification, and I'm going to put it on my window, and this is going to be how I watch an action movie." Okay. Right. And then they would drive away with the speaker box still in their car window, and it would sometimes pull the box out, or it would sometimes pull the pole out of the ground, and they wouldn't realize that until it slammed against their car. Or my personal favorite would be when they drove away and it completely shattered their window, and they wanted us to pay for it. And we're like, no, that's on you, dumbass. But we eventually got rid of the speaker poles. And, I don't think a lot of drive-ins really have them. If they have them, they're now more, ornamental, because they all just use digital. They just broadcast it through an RF signal. In fact, I got in trouble once because I created a mix CD for our intro, for our opening. I was like, oh, I'll just do like movie soundtracks. Like, no one's going to care. I didn't think about the legality of it, right? Of broadcasting it over an open RF signal. And like, even though it's a low area, it doesn't go very far. It's a low signal. We got a cease and desist from Sony over I think it was like over the Ghostbusters like theme song or something. And I'm all, my boss was like, just get rid of the CDs. And I'm like,
how did they know?
Somebody reported it. And the thing is, everyone liked it. It wasn't hurting anything. Everyone liked it. You walk out there and, you'd hear like the Star Wars theme song or Back to the Future, Huey Lewis in the News or whatever, all these iconic tracks. And then people would be out there singing and having a good old time. But there is licensing rights. Yeah. And because it's a paid admission to get in, you pay admission to enter the property, and you're on an RF band.
I'll be honest with you, the whole licensing rights thing and copyright thing is really, I think, just gotten out of hand at this point. I understand that people need to get paid. I totally get all that, and I agree with that. Coming from a standpoint of like, I work for obviously a church where like we literally have like multiple licenses for all these things because everything is not centralized. Yeah. And so like, you got to have a license for this and a license for this. And hey, if you're going to do this, you got to do, and it's like, I'm paying for all these licenses, and I don't even know what's legit and what's not anymore, as a building.
Well, and that's the thing is like, YouTube doesn't, so many people re-upload content to YouTube and market as being royalty free or being free.
Yes.
And you don't know.
That's deceptive. That's
deceptive, right, and that happens occasionally. Because
then you download one of those songs and you try to put it as like your intro or something like that because you think that it's royalty free. You can just use it, but they don't have it described there that you have to literally pay them for it. But it's just there, and so people, they download it and they use it, and then all of a sudden, 4 years down the line, you get all your videos get content claimed because that person sold it to a third party to claim it.
Well, I know one guy who took like the opening line from a Dr. Dre song where it's like, hold up, like that one, right? And he used it like as the intro in all of his videos. And then that was actually got copyright claimed, and they took all of his content down. And I was laughing so hard because like I don't like this person. So I was laughing. So I'm like, you're a moron. And he still is. And he asks why I don't like him, and he knows exactly why I don't like him. I don't want to get into that. But anyway, so Batman Superman here does ask the very hard-hitting question before we dive into the key issues of the night. Thoughts on Godzilla v. Kong moving forward 2 months to March? Kind of a weird announcement today, don't you think?
I think it's very weird, and I'll be honest with you. I said this on Nerdy in many ways, and I'll repeat it again. Warner Brothers doesn't like Zack Snyder's Justice League. They're pissed off. They don't want it. They've never wanted it. And if you think for a second that just because we're getting it, that's a positive thing for them, listen, I've swallowed the DC pill myself, and I love DC. Trust me, I'm in that world. But you took the trolley to the neighborhood of make believe, and you're not far behind Mr. Rogers because if you believe that, because they are pissed off. Look, a company that has that has one of their tent pole things like Zack Snyder's Justice League that people have been waiting for 3.5 years on. People have fought for blood, sweat, real tears, real emotion, just engrafted into every fiber of this 4-hour movie that people are waiting for. People crying, doing reaction videos where they're bawling, where they're I mean, you would have thought Jesus came back himself and said, "Here is my movie. Take of my movie. Watch it." Or it
to be fair,
you.
there are people out there.
I get it, man. I get it. But like, and I'm right there. You all know. You all know I'm right there. I love this, right? But that's what I'm telling you is that any other company would die for a product like this.
Yeah.
Okay. They would sell their firstborn for a product that presents itself this way to its public. And what does Walter Hamada do? Oh, he goes into the New York Times and goes, "Yeah, this is a cul-de-sac. It's not really going anywhere. It's going to be there, but don't really pay attention to it. What we really want you to see is the multiverse, the Flash multiverse. Did you hear that Michael Keaton's going to be in that thing? And oh yeah, we're going to bring back Ben Affleck too. I mean, he's going to be there. But you know, I'm convinced now, Matt, that this is all a big ploy to basically ruin Zack Snyder's version of everything in the DCEU.
They've been wanting to do that anyway, but they've been wanting to do that anyway.
I'm telling you, they hate it, and that's why. Like we've heard that that Justice League was going to be coming out in March. That's been kind of the going.
I've been hearing that, yeah.
That everybody's been talking about. Now, we haven't gotten an official date, but that's kind of what's been hinted at. If that's true, and now they've moved Kong versus Godzilla up to March, why would you put another tent pole offering?
Well, wasn't Mortal Kombat supposed to be early March? Like, isn't that currently kind of tentative for early March?
I don't know.
When I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I said, everyone's like, "Oh no, Zack Snyder Justice League is coming out in March," and I'm like, "It ain't coming out in March, guys. Like, everything needs to come out in May. If anything, it's going to come out Memorial Day weekend." I've been saying that it's going to come out at the end of a quarter. It's going to come out like a month before the end of the quarter, so they can then talk about the increase in subscriptions. And honestly, the reason why they moved Godzilla v. Kong is because I think Wonder Woman has not done as well. It didn't move the needle as much as they wanted it to. Now, granted, it did move the needle a bit for HBO Max. There are 28 million accounts that they have for HBO that are HBO Max eligible, but have not made the upgrade. And then they've only seen a 4 million increase for Wonder Woman 84, which is good, but it's not good enough. And so I think they're holding off on Justice League until a time when they can prop it up, because in the meantime, they can't just rely on DC content. Like, you've got the little things, I think that came out today. The new Denzel movie, or maybe it's next week or something. Okay. And then you've got, they're doing like a couple other movies that are dropping. And then you got Mortal Kombat. We got the first images of that today, which look pretty dope. And then you've got the Godzilla v. Kong now coming out on my birthday, which I'm very happy about, because I cannot wait to watch that movie. I love the other two. So I am super stoked for that. But yeah, I agree with you that Walter Hamada and those guys do not like Snyder. They haven't. They've always felt it to be a thorn in their side. And the fact that the Snyder Cut has got a one up on it probably does irk them the wrong way, because look, the reality of it is this: the fandom does not care. They do not care about anything else unrelated to Zack Snyder. They just don't. If you pay attention, it's like Ray Fisher, who we will talk about, and I do have the audio. Ray Fisher says anything on Twitter about what's going on. Variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter talk about it. Everyone talks about it. It trends. Zack Snyder does anything really, that trends, and like, but you hear, we're going to be doing another Shazam movie. And it's like, I personally can't wait to see it. I love Shazam.
Me too.
But it's like, no one is really kind of losing their mind over it. Like if there's a new piece of information, which is rare, and then it's like, well, are we going to get more Henry Cavill as Superman? People want that. Exactly. So and then it's like Affleck coming out and talking about, Kevin Feige as being like the greatest producer to ever live. Those are some shots fired at DC 100%. And I think, again, it's kind of like where I think the fan base, and I think people after all these years have looked at the Snyderverse and what they've created, and they got like, look, this play in this world, like don't reboot it. Don't go back, because if you go backwards, it means you don't care and that you don't have faith in your product. And whereas Marvel is like, hey, we've done 21 movies or 22 movies now. I forget. Honestly, I've lost track. So we're going to do this television show, and it's the first couple episodes are going to be riffing on 1950s sitcoms. And you know what? It's good. Both episodes are really funny.
The 25 minutes. Look, the only thing I'll say about that show, because we just missed the end because everything went down, shut down, and I had to pause it, and my family took off, and everybody dispersed, and it was like I never got it back because we were still on Twitch, and I was like, well, we're still on Twitch and Twitter, we'll just keep going, and we decided not to. But here's something interesting. So I really liked it because I was a kid who grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, where Nick at Night had all the black and white shows. Man, I watched, the Patty Duke Show, and I watched, Dick Van Dyke, and
Bewitched, The Munsters, the Addams Family.
From what I saw, very much inspired by Bewitched. I Love Lucy, all those old sitcoms, right? So I love all that.
The Honeymooners.
My son, interesting enough, who loves Marvel. When it came time that I was trying to get everybody downstairs to start our stream, I said, hey, are you coming down? And he goes, no, I'm not going to watch this. And I said, why not, dude? I said, we've been talking about this, for a couple of weeks now. He says, it looks all right. I'll get around to it. I said, well, why don't you come down and at least watch these first 2 episodes with us? If you don't like it going forward, you don't have to keep on watching it, obviously. Yeah. I said, but, otherwise you'll be behind. And he said, okay. And he sat here kind of like, because he wasn't digging the old sitcom thing. Now,
he also has never experienced it.
Exactly. And he understood that we were enjoying it, but like he didn't understand a lot of the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, it's definitely a ballsy move. It's a bold move for them to kind of start off with that. And I like the fact though that you could tell that there's hidden Easter eggs in there, that there's stuff that they're hinting at, and we all kind of knew that was going to be part of it anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wonder how younger people though. That's my question, right? Because he's 16. I wonder how younger people and kids and everything are going to react to this.
I'm in the same boat as that. Like I sat there, I watched it last night. I had my headphones on. I was laughing, just like uncontrollably laughing at it. I thought it was just because I grew up again. I didn't have cable when I was a kid, but I'd go to my dad's house and like in the summer, and they'd have Nick at Night, and I would, because it was like Munster Mondays and I Love Lucy Tuesdays, and they would do these like Gilligan's Island Thursdays, and they would just show all of these old sitcoms, just blocks of them, and I would watch them as a kid, and I loved them as a kid, and I'll rewatch them as an adult, and now that I get a lot more of the humor, because there's a lot more of the humor. If you notice that at least in episode 2, there's a bit more sexual innuendo humor in the episode, and it's like, oh, okay, like you guys are like You guys are kind of going for it a little bit. You're playing with the edges to make the adults laugh, and also to poke fun at the old 1950s sitcoms where like they slept in separate beds, and like there was like, if they were ever gonna have hanky panky, it was like, okay, get the lights sort of thing, and they just pull the blanket, or like the Brady Bunch would do that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like those kind of elements that are thrown into it. So for me, it kind of takes me back to being a kid and like laughing at those old jokes.
Oh, sure.
But I also really like the characters. I really love Wanda. I love Vision. Paul Bettany actually gets to do some range acting in this time around, which I think is pretty great. And we get a bit more of an exploration of these characters. And then also it's like, as the Marvel movies kind of do, they're just kind of dropping hints as you go along for what the greater story is. And they're building up to it here. So it's such a ballsy move, and it's something that, and I there's a thing here from Chubby Teddy, which I like. He says about the Affleck Feige thing.
I love Chubby Teddy.
Chubby Teddy's great. He says, notice Affleck said Feige knows what the audience wants. That's a total slam to WB and how out of touch they are. And I completely agree. I completely agree. That is absolutely true. I mean, Affleck is like, look, this guy, he says in the interview, if Feige says audiences want this, I will believe it 100%. And like, that is an absolute.
Do you think, Matt, what do you think? Because I've been thinking about this a lot. Look, I'm a diehard DC fan through and through. It's the only thing I got tattooed on my body. I named my son's middle name Jor-El.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fully invested. I literally had somebody tell me yesterday, Matt, that I'm not a DC fan. That's why I obviously I have to preface from now on, right?
Okay.
Right, yeah. So, but here's the thing. After this, I was wondering with this whole Ray Fisher thing, I even questioned a little bit whether or not there was enough support for Ray Fisher where it could really have a major impact on this Flash movie. Right. And I was telling people, like, I'm not one for everybody. You know my stance on Star Wars, even, right? Where it's like, I think it's just dumb to boycott a movie just to boycott a movie. Like, if you don't like it, fine. If you don't like the movie, fine, move on to the next movie, right?
Like, I didn't like The Last Jedi, but I was all in it for Rise of Skywalker, and Mandalorian is my lifeblood.
That's why Solo got hurt, right? Was because there was all these people who were like, I'm not going to go see Solo. And it's a shame. And now those people are discovering Solo and going, oh, that wasn't such a bad movie after all. Shut up. You killed it.
I was ranting from the rooftops when Solo came out. I'm like, go see this movie. It's so good. I hear you, man. I hear you.
So my question is, though, because I don't agree about boycotting stuff necessarily, but I raised the question, how can I go see The Flash after all this stuff, knowing all this stuff now that happened behind the scenes and stuff? And look, it could be the best movie ever. It's got Ben Affleck, it's got Michael Keaton, it's got Ezra Miller back. God knows who else is going to be in this thing with the multiverse and everything.
Even Wonder Woman is being talked about as being in it now.
But I mean, Lord knows if they're doing multiverse, dude, like somebody was joking earlier, and I mean, you never know. We could see that Nicolas Cage cameo, right? I mean, like, who the heck knows? It's multiverse.
I would be okay with that.
I'd be okay with
I would be okay with that.
Way that I would be okay with it.
If you want to sell me on the multiverse, put Cage in the suit.
Yes.
That's my price of admission right there.
That would be where I'd want to see it if I see it. But I'm just saying, if I'm watching that film, no matter how good it is, and I sit there thinking, there was a whole big portion, not just a cameo. It wasn't like Cyborg was walking down the street, saw Flash run across and went, "Yo, Flash, what's up?" Right?
Yeah.
They said that it was a legitimate part for him that they're writing out. First of all, what does that do? It just slaps in the face once again of the fans and the fact that the DC and Warner Brothers, the meddling, the constant meddling in these movies, right? And so there was a big portion of this movie apparently that had him in there, and now that there's that, how can I sit there and go, I love this movie, or I'm excited about this movie, if I know all the stuff that happened behind the scenes? And I'll tell you, another question that I want to know? I want to hear from Andy Muschietti. That's what I want.
I heard you talking about that. Yeah.
I want to hear from Andy. I messaged him on Instagram, and I sent him a private message, and I said, you need to speak out about this. I said, because if Warner Brothers, if this is your doing because you're writing and directing the movie and you're good with this, that's one thing, because that's your choice. But if Warner Brothers is having you do this, you're going to let them take away your movie, and especially after yesterday, because I was very proud of the fans standing up, hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
thousands of people, man, hitting that hard, and thousands of DC fans saying, nope, I'm not going to go see it. I'm not going to be. I've seen people turning in their DC cards, which hurts me. Oh my gosh, to see, but I understand it and I get it because people are frustrated and they're like, I love DC, but I don't love a company that allows people to be hurt, allows people to be downtrodden, and then boosts up and lifts up the people who does it and enables them. I will not stand for that, and I'm super proud of that. But my question is, are you? I told Andy, I said in Muschietti, I said, man, if they're doing this to you, I like your movies. I love your It movies. I love your others. I do not want to see you suffer because this movie bombs, because they're setting themselves up.
Yeah, and he'll get hit. I mean, that's the way it works. No one ever blames.
Then they'll spin it that nobody really wanted the Zack Snyder verse anyways, and this was the last. This was the last that we tried. That's why we put Ben back in it. And look, see, we tried to put Ezra, and see, it just doesn't work, guys. We're gonna have to go in a totally different vein now.
Yeah, welcome to the New 52 Part 2.
Oh God.
I know, and I get you on that one. I get you, but it also then goes back to the question I posed on your stream last night, which is,
I don't have an answer for that, man.
And again, it's like and I asked it on my stream too, and I said, like, are you going to cancel your HBO Max subscription as a result of this? Because that is right now the only way to effectively impact Warner Brothers negatively, and it does, but it's an umbrella hurt. It's going to hurt the entire company because if people. And we already talked about this, I forget if it was beforehand or with how many millions of people went to HBO Max. They're not doing the best. And so now if they used Wonder Woman as a way to bring people in, and now there's a fracture within that fan base of those people that promoted HBO Max, that have subscribed to it, that have giving it tons of free promotion, all that stuff, and they start to do a mass exodus. And HBO Max understands that they are not, if you go and look right now, they've extended their 20% discount. They've extended their membership discount for like another couple months because they're still not pulling in the numbers that they want. And so they're trying to now bring people in hopes that this kind of tactic is going to work. And all things considered, I still don't know yet if it's going to. We have to see if these other movies are going to do well enough. But really it's like, that's the only way you're going to hurt them. And so if people, I saw all these petitions today and, people who I know and I like are just, retweeting it. I'm like, that doesn't mean a damn thing. That doesn't mean a damn thing. You are not going to impact the business by not showing and voting with your wallet like this flat out. Like this is not going to happen. And I hate to be the bearer of reality on that one. I'm not trying to be a dick. It's a bad situation. However, though, that was before today's revelation. With this particular audio leak, not even a leak, this posting by Ray. And I'm going to play it. I got it right here. For those of you guys who don't know, and I know you kind of been waiting for it, Ray Fisher dropped about 57 seconds of his conversation with the WarnerMedia investigator. And this is where you need to listen to what she says. This is the person who was hired by WarnerMedia to conduct the investigation, the one that brought remedial disciplinary action, right? Remedial action to people like Joss Whedon. And that's about all we know right now. But they're the ones who interviewed Gal for a lot of time. She even came out and said she spent 8 hours with them or something. So there's a lot there. And so this is what this woman is saying about Ray's character and why this is very important to listen to.
I know that this is a very time-consuming process, and I know this has not been an easy one by any means. And if ever there were any points in time where I seemed defensive or please.
Ray, you've been a gentleman. You've been a gentleman, and I'll say you've been a man of your word. And that is what we have reported to the company, which is that you told us you would give us names. You gave us names. You told us you would meet with us on a particular day at a particular time. You never tried to reschedule it. You met us. You even gave us information after that. You've been a man of your word. You are someone that we have found extremely credible. And the fact that you risked so much is part of what lends itself to your credibility. But just also, the facts speak for themselves.
Yeah, there we have it. The facts speak for themselves. And that Ray has put up a lot. and that's being talked about, his credibility, his character, what he's brought to the table, that he has provided information. He then provided more information, and that this is what they reported to WarnerMedia and Warner Brothers. So whatever is happening in regards to Hamada v. Fisher, I'm backing Fisher. Because he's provided, it's not just, hyperbolic sniping through fucking, New York Times articles or coming out through Humberto Gonzalez or something like that. It's actual, like, this is recording. Yep. This is audio. This is evidence. And people, there's going to be people out there that are going to try to argue that's not evidence, man. No, it's evidence. That is, that is.
I don't even know that he had permission to even release that.
Yeah, I've seen that argument.
Get permission from the lady she's probably down with Ray Fisher. He didn't get permission to do this. We're just going to assume that right now.
Yeah, this is going to escalate though. This is going to escalate so bad. But again, he is doing this the right way. He has been consistent with his commentary and what he's been releasing and what he has to say about it. And he's been like that now for over half a year.
Yep.
And he has seen a lot of relentless attacks from people like idiots online, who I won't say their names, and then other people out there who just don't want to believe him. And I have said this before, and I'll catch a lot of flack for saying this, but I think as a black man, he's got a bit higher of a hurdle to cross, to be honest with you, especially given the accusations of racism and how people out there do not like to have that hard conversation that it exists. And I've been in those positions to where I have, heard those complaints and kind of been like, yeah, but I'm not in that group anymore. And once you move away from that, you start to kind of look at it more objectively, which is one of the reasons why I do back Ray, because it's one of those things where I know how easy it is to dismiss someone's experiences, because it's not hard when you're not in their shoes. And you and me, Enosh, we're white dudes, like we don't really have a leg to stand on in that department.
I am.
But well, I mean, you look rather,
Did you just assume my race, sir?
I mean, like, yeah. What are you going to do about it? Go to YouTube HR?
No, I'm going to hawk my new merchandise with this logo on it. Isn't that awesome?
There we go. All right. Do your thing. Anyway, real quick though, in the chat, we do have a straw poll right here. I'm asking the question, is Ray Fisher telling the truth? Head over there to answer the poll, straw poll. It's a pinned comment, so you guys can see it that way. But really, it's like, look, this is a situation where we're never going to get, I think, the full scope of everything, because there are going to be NDAs, and there are going to be people who just won't talk about it, and there are going to be people who just want to put it behind them and move on. What we're getting out of Ray is piece by piece enough to continue going like, hey, maybe this guy's telling the truth on this whole thing. Maybe this guy is, maybe he's telling the truth, because look, Jason has come out and defended him. Gal spoke with them.
We all said, Matt, that when the cast, why hasn't the cast come out and defended him? Why hasn't the cast come out and said something?
Yeah.
Obviously he's lying because the cast hasn't come out and said something. Jason Momoa comes out. Yeah, release the effing Snyder cut, and a bunch of effing stuff went down, blah blah blah, and well.
Yeah, I know.
That's not real. Jason was probably coerced. He's just trying to help a friend.
Yeah, never mind. He's been like the most consistent vocal cast member about the Snyder cut, and everyone who loves DC loves Momoa. Like, they love Momoa. He's like the cheerleader for the whole thing, in my opinion.
Well, the heck yeah, man. Haven't you seen this curly hair? I could brush this thing out, man. Have an afro going right now.
Oh my God. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're going to get me in so much trouble.
Hey, no, it's Rel, man. Rel's got my back.
Yeah. you're like, he's, I'm not going to make the joke, but, I think that Ray's probably going to end up dropping more audio. And that shows you that at that point, that shows you that he has recorded everything.
Absolutely. This is where he's going now. all those people who've been griping and complaining now, Matt, for all this time, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. Look, I already know what they're going to say about this, right? There's 57 minutes that were there. Where's the other 56 minutes? Why did he drop the whole thing? Why did he drop the whole thing? Why are we having to wait for this? Why are we letting it go on for so long, guys? Why didn't you just put it all out there, Ray? Come on, Ray. Just put it all out there on the table so we can all just look at it. You're taking and wasting enough time already. Come on, Ray. You've wasted 7 months of our time. You could just put it out there, but no, because he's a narcissist and he doesn't care about anything and he's all about it for himself. And it's obvious, guys. Right. There you go.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a good impression. That's a very good impression. You nailed it. Yes, the barking circus seal.
We got a cat over here somewhere. It's usually up here in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. You only gave me $2. Oh, I'm not going to acknowledge you.
Yeah.
Anyway, people in the chat are getting it. That's good. They're understanding it. Although now that you've kind of done that, he's probably already heard about it and he's probably already here.
4 videos. 4 videos. That Larry Bird guy is going to make 4 videos about this right now. I'll tell you.
I didn't even clip out my whole segment about it last night. I didn't do it. And what's funny is I should clip it out because a lot of people were messaging me going like, that is like the best explanation for this whole situation that I've heard. And I'm all like, yeah, but I want to get people to listen to the podcast. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately it's like, look, I think Ray at this point has earned, not that he really had to, but he should at this point have earned at least the benefit of the doubt, at the bare minimum, the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Because he's like, and I've said, and I still stand by this, I think that what he does is with the approval and support of, I don't want to say permission, but approval of, and support from Zach. And I would say whoever his team is over at WarnerMedia, because it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that they know that this is a problem. And publicly, they have to show solidarity. So Anne, whatever her last name is, I forget her name, but the lady who runs WarnerMedia, CEO of that, she comes out and she's like, I support Hamada, but I'm also wondering if if they are now trying to build enough public pressure on the side to almost force him to resign. But Toby just re-signed him for 3 years, which doesn't really mean anything, to be honest with you. But I'm wondering if that's what they're going to end up doing with it, because like, what else is the end game here? I, and as much as I'm saying I support Ray, I have to then ask the question: what is the end game? Is the end game to have Hamada acknowledge problems and apologize? I would assume that's probably the bare minimum. But like, is it to have him quit or be fired in disgrace? To have Cyborg rewritten back into the Flash? I mean, like the thing is the movie's nowhere near production beginning. Right. So they have multiple scripts. We already know there's at least 5 different scripts that are out there. And
how many directors too?
Yeah. And it's like, there's that. And I mean, but I'll say this. And I think I heard this, maybe it was your stream. You guys talking about like Rick Famuyiwa having been attached to it. And I was rewatching the Believer episode yesterday, season 2, episode 7, Amanda. And I'm like, why did he not do like, he's so good. He is such a talented director. Like, I don't know why, like, they've
had plenty of, I mean, they had Lord and Miller on this thing. They got Andy Muschietti now. They had him. I mean, they've had plenty of people who
Seth Graham-Smith, but I'm okay with that one not working out.
What has he done again? He did.
He wrote the book Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh, okay.
And I like the book, but he wrote the screenplay for the movie. I didn't think the movie was very good. And then he also wrote Dark Shadows for Warner's back in 2012, I think, the one that Tim Burton did with Johnny Depp, the remake of the adaptation of the old soap opera. And I thought that was terrible. He wrote a whole bunch of bad movies around that time. And then they still brought him in as like a producer and originally a writer on this project. But honestly, I prefer him over Christina Hodson, to be honest with you. I can't stand Christina Hodson's writing. It's terrible. And so Muschietti, I don't understand how you're going to have like a director like Muschietti, who is very talented and very good at telling a story, and pair him with Christina Hodson, who wrote Bumblebee and Birds of Prey and apparently Batgirl. And Warner's is like, why are you continuing to hire this person? Her other movies have been panned critically for having terrible scripts. What is going on here? But anyway, I think it's like, again,
game thing though. They got to figure out like what What do you want from this? And my thing is like I'm never a big fan of like seeing people get fired either. Like I'm not like trying to headhunt for people's jobs or whatever. But the reality is like, look, if you make these bad decisions, right? I think at this point I'm entirely okay with them bringing a broom and trying to sweep out some of these execs and these people who obviously they've been all about the entertainment portion of it. Like you got to give it to people like Jeff Johns and these other people, Hamada and everything for their entertainment value.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this thing is that accountability should be greater than the entertainment portion. And I know we all fall back and go, well, it's Hollywood. What are you going to do? Right. It's Hollywood. That's the point, which is great about Ray Fisher, is that Ray Fisher has stepped in and gone, look, I don't care if I never work again in Hollywood. I'll go get another job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
But even Hollywood as a construct in and of itself is so split these days. I mean, it's like there's, you have the productions in Vancouver, you have productions in Toronto, Atlanta.
Yes.
You've got New York, you've got London.
They tried to do it here in Michigan, and then our former governor like totally just ripped right out because Batman, Superman came here, and Transformers. I can't remember which Transformers. I think it was the last Transformers actually came here as well, and it did really well. But the thing is, they only made like $40 million off those two movies. Oh, God forbid. And they shut it all down.
Well, I mean, look at Swamp Thing. They said Swamp Thing was a paperwork error that didn't get the tax credit for $40 million. So it's like, because looking at how much these things cost to make, how expensive these shows are, like those tax credits work. Like New Mexico was all the rage for a number of years because of their very, very nice tax breaks for productions. In fact, no one's talking about this anymore, and they should. Netflix opened a studio there, right?
No.
Yeah, this was last year. Netflix picked up a studio. They opened a production house in Albuquerque. Like, I would say if you're an actor right now and you are looking to get into something, because everyone fled LA to go to Atlanta because of the Atlanta boom a couple years ago. And as a result of that, Atlanta's blown up, but the cost of living is insane. Go to Albuquerque. Albuquerque,
nice, dude.
It's not terrible. It's New Mexico, so you're kind of in it. You know what you're in for. But they're going to be building out productions in New Mexico.
They got a great comic and toy store in Albuquerque called Two Sons, based on like Tatooine.
Okay,
we stopped there on our drive back. But again, so I saw a comment here just a minute ago. This is what's bothering me, Matt.
Which comment?
So it was Fourth 1000 said, what is this evidence of, though? That he went through the investigation. We know that he went through the investigation. It doesn't speak to the legitimacy of his claims. Is it just me, Matt? Or, like, we're this deep into this thing, right? And you talked about his credibility and, like, his trustworthiness and stuff. He has never given us, and it's actually, Xavier says it's two down. He's never given us any reason not to trust him. Everything that he has said has pretty much panned out, and we just haven't gotten all of the info that everybody is so desperately craved. But the thing is, there's had to be things that because investigations are going on and things are going on, we can't all be privy to everything that's happening. But my question is I literally got through most of my stream last night, and me and Brian Master and Nunn, right? Good guy. We're sitting there having our stream. We went through the entire history of this thing, man. Literally, like everything, top to bottom, going over this with a fine tooth comb. Get to the end, and somebody asked the question, literally, of me. Well, Ray was given such a hard time to Joss Whedon. Why is he on Hamada now? And I was like, what? And I literally stopped everything, man. I put my head down in my hands, and I said, dude, have you read a tweet? Have you seen any of his Instagram posts? Have you seen any of his other, Twitter posts? Have you watched any of my videos, for God's sake? Have you watched Matt? Have you watched anybody? Like, talk about this. Hamada enabled him because Hamada didn't want to do anything. He wanted to protect Jeff Johns. He was willing to throw Joss under the bus. Yeah. It's all out there. How do you ask a question that late in the game? And you just played the audio, Matt. And this is no offense. Listen, and I don't mean to call anybody out, but you just literally played the audio that the investigator says you were very forthcoming. And the fact that the investigator said the fact that you're willing to lay everything online and your risk factor and all this lends to your credibility. And also, and then what's the last line? Says
the facts speak for themselves.
The facts speak for themselves, right? And then we literally get a question right after that. And this is no offense, please, fourth 1000. I'm not trying to just call you out and be rude to you, but like this is where this is blowing my mind, because there are so many facts that are coming out. There are so many things that lend itself to prop up Ray Fisher and his claims. This is definitely one. Does it lay out this is who did this is who did this, and this is how it happened? No. But the fact that the investigator says this, yes, it's part of the investigation. You're listening to a person who helped do the investigation say that Ray conducted himself in the best possible way. He made himself available. What has been the lie that we've been told? That Ray did not make himself available, wasn't it? Wasn't that one of
they said that. They repeated that a couple times. Umberto, without even questioning.
Yep, no question. He made it, he made himself scarce. He didn't put himself out there, and he didn't want to be a part of things, right? They made a big deal about that.
Yeah.
A huge deal about that. And yet this lady who conducted the investigation says, man, you were always on time. You never bumped it for something else. Like you never had, like, oh, I got a doctor's appointment that day. Sorry, can't be there. No, you've always been there on time. Always been there when you said you were going to be. You've been open and honest with us. You said you were going to share names with us. You shared names with us. You said you were going to share instances with us. You did that. Everything that you told us, you did. And then to go as far as to say the fact that now this is the person who's seen it, who's heard it, who is privy to all the information because they need to be, is saying to Ray himself, the fact that you have the most to lose here, what you have to possibly lose, lends to your credibility of everything that you've shown us, and the facts speak for themselves. Now, if you hear that and you put it all together, how do we have a question here that says it doesn't speak to the legitimacy of his claims?
I know I think it's and I know Fourth hangs out here a lot. And,
I don't have any problem.
But Fourth is a little bit. He gets a little trolly every once in a while. There's another guy that's in here too. He's got it.
I love him. I'm just saying. But see, and maybe Fourth 1000 is that type of person. But I get literally, man. I got 5 DMs today. Okay, from people who are literally trying to just tell me that I'm blindly following Ray Fisher and that there's something wrong with me. Okay, that there's something wrong, that I still get people, Matt, who tell me I have wax in my ear and I need to go buy better headphones. I bought like almost $200 headphones. What else do I have to freaking do? Right? Like they're like,
I don't tell them what they want to hear. That's what you have to do.
Headphones. Yeah. It was yay. You got them Walmart headphones you bought for $10.
These are.
You live in your mom's basement and you never had a girlfriend. I come back and I'm like, I'm married. I got 3 kids. I got $200 headphones and I don't even have a freaking basement in my house because it's a bi-level. What do you want me to do? This is what I heard. This is what I'm saying. Stop DMing me because you're not going to change my mind. So where Fourth 1000 may be having fun and being a troll or just being honest and just asking a question, I get these other people who are literally like, they're watching all my streams and they're just waiting. They're just, we're going to get him. And I'm like, dude, I watched a video today that I missed apparently 6 months ago when the whole thing went down, that went down with me and, with the Ray Fisher thing.
Yeah.
And I had people coming after me. Well, this guy made this whole video, dude, that I laughed from start to finish because he literally, first of all, he spelled Poindexter wrong in his, that's why I never found the video because he spelled Poindexter wrong in his thing, which we all make that mistake. We all have typos. I get it. But like literally, he's just like he's regurgitating
the same like 5 words over and over again. He's like, this Poindexter guy, he's trash, he's garbage, he's a liar, he's got whacked in his ears, he's trash, he's garbage, he's a liar. He should have just DM'd the guy that he had a problem with.
Yeah.
While he's going on about stuff that I'm like, I must have missed that DM, Matt.
You'd be amazed. Like, here's the thing.
I know
never follow your own rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Like never go and look up negative, like don't watch any negative content about you.
What I realized, dude, today, this is what I realized about this today. It was hilarious and I loved it. Like, I call me weird, call me strange. I started sharing it with friends of mine, you know, that I stream with them, like, hey, you got to see this one. This one's hilarious. I missed this one because it's funny to me now that like that people have this big issue. Like they really think that I care, because I do care to a point, but it's not in the way that they think I care. Like, I'm not sitting here going, oh, does everybody like me now? Like, you know, there would have been a time probably as a YouTuber that's what, but if anything, dude, this last 7 months has really toughened me up to stuff like this. And like the Ray Fisher thing and the fact that Ray was on my channel.
Oh, that's gotta like turn. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, like you could like people. I did have a really nice guy actually today. A really nice guy sent me a message and he just said, hey, Enosh, I don't have anything against you personally. I kind of like you. I like your channel. I like their channel. But you know what? I think what you did was wrong. I think that the way that you did this was wrong. You obviously didn't hear what was correct and you perpetrated this and you did this. He says, you know, and he was very nice. He says, I want you to understand I'm not attacking you and stuff. And so because of that, I answered him in kind. And I said, hey, man, I appreciate that. And I said, I'll be honest with you. You're probably the only person who's come at me like that. And so for that, I thank you. But he told me that I should apologize publicly. And I said,
I get that all the time.
I said, here's the thing, man. How do I apologize for what I heard and still hear? And thousands of other people do as well. I didn't just make this up. I didn't just come up with something like this. Ray Fisher, man, he's out here. Look, if you spend 5 minutes watching a Ray Fisher video on Instagram, if you guys are on Instagram, just go follow Ray Fisher. Go back through all of his videos, watch him. The guy, he's coming from a place of realism, of honesty, and just sharing his experience and the experience of others, trying to help these people who didn't have a platform to help themselves. And what I ask of people who come at me and go, well, why are you blindly just believing him? I say, why would you automatically demonize him and not?
That's the thing is, I mean, maybe we're just like, maybe we are as a society predisposed to not believe. Because, you know, even though we have like the innocent until proven guilty mantra, it's never true. No one ever's, you know, it's never innocent till proven guilty. It's always guilty until proven guilty. Yep. You know, even if you're innocent, it doesn't matter. Someone's not going to get that information. So in their mind, you're going to be guilty. And that's just the way, unfortunately, the world works. And that's how a lot of people, especially some of those who maybe live in a corner, right? Or whatever, you know, they have to propagate that because that's the only way that they're able to really kind of push anything. That's the only way they're able to you know, run an argument is to try to run some bad intel. But hey, remember what I said on your channel.
Shiftygism, I will say, sorry about that, Matt. I will say Shiftygism. I told him too many times last night that he was wrong because we got into a Star Wars discussion on my 2 Cents on Nonsense show. And if Shiftygism knows that, I love him anyways. But that right there is absolutely right. That's what I've been saying ever since the beginning. You're absolutely 100% right, dude. That makes up for all of your shortcomings on Star Wars news. What did you say on my channel?
Well, remember, we won.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then this is simply just another, this isn't going to stop the Snyder Cut from coming out, but at the same time, this is going to end up shining a light on Hollywood.
Can you imagine if that was the next announcement?
What?
That the Snyder Cut is canceled. I know there's no way that they would ever.
There is no way in hell. They just put a new advert out today or yesterday.
I know, but dude, the egos right now that are flying around.
Well, that's why. Look, as I said,
I feel like we're one comment away from like Zack Snyder slips and says something like in support of Ray or something like that, and then all of a sudden Hamada's like,
well, it's not up to Hamada. HBO. It's up to.
Somebody else has to step in. You know what I mean? Like in.
Yeah. But the thing to remember here though is that like it's not that they're not going to cancel it, but you know what they will do? They'll delay it. And that's what I mentioned earlier is like everyone's talking like
we'll get Godzilla versus
Kong before we get, because releasing Justice League on March 26th would have been more appropriate than any other time, because when did BVS come out in theaters? March 25th, 2016. That's when it came out in theaters. I know because I went to go see it for my birthday with my girlfriend. So it releasing on March 26th would be one of those things where you're like, okay, it's close enough to the anniversary of its release.
Yep.
That would make more sense if they're trying to play it up like that. But now by moving Godzilla v Kong into that slot, it's like, where are you putting Justice League? Because Justice League is going to have to be an end of quarter film, So that, like, it's like Wonder Woman was an end of quarter movie. It just happened to, align with Christmas. And so it's just, that's where it is. So, okay, we've been at this for 55 minutes, which is great. I love the conversation. I want to go for maybe another 30 minutes or so, 35 minutes, but I want to open it up for calls. You want to hang around?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, real quick.
Good to see you, Calvin Lang. Good to see you, buddy.
Rel here does say, Jesse Smollett ruined it for everyone. That's true. He did. He did.
So true.
And what's really funny about it, oh God, Jesse's, that whole situation is a mess. All right. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. We've had a couple guys who have been waiting. We're just going to kind of see where this goes. All right. Eddie, how's it going, man? I know you've been waiting a while. Thank you very much for coming on in.
Not much. How you guys been?
Doing good, man.
I mean, my
dream
got shut down for a week, but I've seen better days, but it'll be okay. I'm here.
I actually missed out on your I actually missed out on your live stream, so I apologize for that. I was just listening to you guys as you guys were talking about the whole Ray Fisher thing, because like I have just been organizing all this on my my whole Power Ranger collection that I have right here in front of me. Because I had just in the mail today, I actually received another figure today, and then the other one 2 days before. So it's growing.
Nice.
Very cool. I remember you talking about your Power Ranger collection.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it, but
what do you got there? Oh, nice.
And you recognize there's the villain right there.
Oh, yeah.
You guys can see it.
Now that's I'm so behind on these villains. It's been years. That's Goldar, is that it, or
Goldar and Lord Zed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this is
Lord Power Rangers guy, and I like the Lord Zed figure, man. That Lord Zed figure.
Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, I like that.
And then this is Lord Draken from the recent comic book run that they're doing, which I actually have all in that box right there.
You are a true fan. You are a true fan. That's good. That's good, man. I think we need more of that, to be honest. I think we need to like celebrate like true fans.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And maybe I'm a cynical son of a bitch, and this is probably what I'm cynical. But like all I see when it comes to celebrating like true fans these days is like if you cosplay, right? And it's like I know a lot of cosplayers that don't give a crap about like who they cosplay as. Some people do. Like Liz Wonder absolutely does.
Oh, yeah.
But and I know people that just do it for like either attention or they do it because it's like their side gig or their career, and they don't actually give a shit. So it's like when you talk about having fans and you talk about like, it'd be like, what do you have that's some cool memorabilia? Like I'm a big Kevin Smith guy. I've got, I got to find it again, but I have a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back poster that I got from Comic-Con 2001. As well as a early screening ticket that I couldn't go to because I had work, and then I had a little tote bag that the Lionsgate booth gave out at Comic-Con 2001 as well, and I had this little shrine on my wall for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for years, and then I moved and I put it away and I never really pulled it back out again, And I've even got the original script book that they released for Dogma. That came out and back. I'm a big Kevin Smith nut, so for me, like that's the kind of fans. Like there was a show. Did you guys ever see the show on AMC with Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg called Geeking Out? It was very short lived. It came,
yeah.
It came out in like 2017, in the summer of 2017, And it was really, it was like Kevin Smith and it was Greg Grunberg, and they're talking to like the first episode. They went and they interviewed J.J. Abrams, because like Grunny is like JJ's best friend.
Yep.
And so like
This is the Force Awakens, right?
yeah, this was like after the Force Awakens, but like they talked to him, and then like leading up to the release of the Defenders, Kevin Smith traveled to New York and he interviewed Charlie Cox about Daredevil and about the Defenders.
Speaking of which, there's rumors that he just wrapped filming Spider-Man 3. Oh,
I heard. I am not like. Here's the thing. I cannot let myself get hyped up for that, and it's not.
No,
and the only,
I'm just like trying not to hype.
Yeah.
Because if he's, oh god, go ahead. Continue.
I don't want to be disappointed. I don't like. I just legitimately don't. I love Daredevil. I think Charlie Cox is an amazing Matt Murdock, an amazing Daredevil. Season 2 of that show was like peak television in my opinion. And I want nothing more for there to be like a Daredevil and Punisher show on FX where it's just the two of them fighting crime and talking nothing but shit to each other, because their philosophical differences is so I just love those conversations, you know, like where they're the battling ideas or like the dueling ideologies and stuff. And I just, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you feel about those, Enosh. Are you a Marvel Netflix fan?
So honestly, I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you. I never watched them. I was I love the movies. I watched the first 3 seasons of
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once they started doing the Inhumans thing, I went, nope. And I stopped watching.
That was actually supposed to tie in with the movie.
I know.
And then Perlmutter and Feige had their falling out, and it all went to hell.
It was just so bad. And then when those shows started coming up, I didn't have Netflix at the time that they all started coming out. Okay, and so I was behind already. And Tiffany and I have talked about going back and like, because I like Daredevil. I really like Daredevil. And so I've talked about going back and watching Daredevil and stuff. But then when they basically came out and said, nope, screw that, and none of it matters anymore, I was like, well, I'm not in a rush now to go watch Daredevil, right? So like, one of those things that keeps getting pushed off. Everybody tells me they're amazing and I shall love them. And I agree that I probably will. There's been one thing now, of course, that they're doing this. And after the news that Feige said, you know, never say never, it could, you know, possibly somehow still tie in, you know, maybe one day I'll go ahead and give it a whirl. But, you know, there's just, I don't know.
Yeah. For me, like, I don't really care if it's the Netflix version or not, just as long as it's Charlie Cox back in the role.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, yeah, the Marvel Netflix shows are unfortunately no more. But if you're gonna get the same actors back, are people really going to care that much?
I think people will be, if they go, hey, we've got, you know, if Charlie Cox is back and he's in Spider-Man and he is Spider-Man's lawyer, or he's got I mean, it's like when you watch, okay, so when you get around to finally seeing them,
next band, Spider-Man's lawyer.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially
Spider-Man's lawyer. It's, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Spider-Man's lawyer.
Well, here, I'll bring this up. We'll check this out. I'll get totally flagged for it, but I'm cool with it.
While you're doing that, hey Eddie, one of the coolest things that I think I ever saw playing in my band was we did this show that the band that opened for us, where they were a really awesome band, and it was all they were a hard rock band. And it was guys and girls. They were all African Americans, and they just rocked so hard, which was awesome. But then also, they did as their closer the Power Rangers theme.
Seriously?
They did. I started hearing this music, and I'm like, "What is that?" And then all of a sudden, it was like, "Oh my god!" They're playing.
No, because like as soon as because when you hear the theme song and as soon as you hear like the dun 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 dun, you know for a fact that that's Power Rangers playing.
Yep. But it was just awesome. We're all sitting here singing, you know, at this bar, you know, this big, it was like some big party thing, and we're just like, go Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Go,
Matt.
I always thought it was funny. They always felt like the singers of the song
trying to convince me because they're like, "Go Power
Yeah.
Rangers,
Well, let me get to this.
Morphin Power Rangers, yeah."
It's like it's a good theme song from back. We all still know it. It's like Turtles and whatever else, you know. So let me set this clip up here. So this is from the Daredevil game from 2004, which if you never, or sorry, the Punisher game from 2004, which was voiced by Tom Jane. Actually, it's from 2005. This is from the creators of Saints Row. Before they did Saints Row, it's a game they did before Saints Row. I have 100% what would we call this, platinumed this game. 5 stars, hard difficulty all the way through. I love it. This scene I've always loved because it just shows you like, this is what I would personally love to see. And every time in the Daredevil show or anytime in the Marvel Netflix shows when someone's like, I need a lawyer, and you're thinking like, it's only one person. This is kind of where things go. So we'll just check this one out.
Okay.
So, Fisk told you he wasn't behind it.
You believed Mr. Fisk?
Of course you did. You were...
Hold it right there. Anything my client has said without his attorney present is inadmissible. Mr. Castle, don't say another word.
Too late, Murdoch. Go home.
Mr. Castle, as your attorney, I
don't need a lawyer. You're fired.
Mr. Castle, this is very ill-advised.
Objection noted and overruled.
Well, nice.
I just love that bit because like this game is chock full of cameos, right? So it's chock full of cameos. There's a, like, you know, you fight Bullseye, the Russian, Kingpin, a ton of different other Marvel guys. And then all of a sudden here comes Matt Murdock and he just gets fired in like the 30 seconds, you know? And I just love that bit. And that was the kind of thing I would love to see.
He reaches for that square doorknob.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's 2005 graphics on a, you know, I think that was probably on a PlayStation or Xbox or something like that. But it's just like, but that's the connectivity of like those universes that need to be there for those little kind of moments, because those are what audiences are going to lose their shit over. And this is why I think Marvel does it better than DC, because Marvel establishes it and then they also don't run away from it, which is why, going back to this Ray Fisher situation, they need to very much just bring him back in. You know what I mean? Like hard negotiate with them and bring him back in, because otherwise it's going to screw things up. But hey, Eddie, I'm going to let you, I got more people that want to come on in, and we got to wrap it up here in the next like 20 minutes or so. So okay. I'm gonna let you go, man. But thank you very much for stopping by, and have fun playing with your Power Rangers on a Friday night.
This guy too.
Oh, that's a nice one.
So we just snap and he's gone. Just like,
let's see here. Let's bring him up. Put him in front of the screen, buddy. Let's see. Oh, nice.
It's a Marvel Select Thanos from Endgame. I bought it off eBay for like about $20, which is a steal.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's nice, man. That's good.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, hey, we'll talk again soon. All right. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
For sure, man.
Have a good one. All
You
right.
too.
So, okay. So Tom Hanks Ballsack asks where the link. It's in the video description. So that's also there.
I got to talk to Tom Hanks Ballsack 69. He this last week, and he was a great guest. He was a great guest. He pulled a Max at the end. He was awesome. I loved everything he had to say, and then he fell asleep at the end. It was really kind of funny. We left him in the thing. People were asking like if we should just leave him going because he was snoring. But
oh yeah, we had that call in on Bolter Talk where this guy's a drunk Canadian.
I talked about that. I talked
about
that night.
Futter watch.
We kept because I was watching that night because we kept hearing this noise, and Saggy Melons was on that night, and she kept thinking that it was Tom Hanks' dog, and because we'd see the little thing like move, but we didn't hear from Tom in a while. And then like we're like winding stuff down, and we're sitting in the back, chat afterwards, and we're like, we should have just left the stream going. Like we should all just left. And I did leave him a picture. I never heard from him, but I left him a picture so that like if he woke up, it said Tom Hanks Ballsack 69. He. We love you. You fell asleep on the stream, but we still love you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, at least you gave him that. You gave him that.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that's he'll get a kick. All right. Hey John, what's going on, man?
Hey Matt, how you doing?
No, I'm still surviving.
Yeah, I saw the fans showing their stuff. Do have a Revenge of the Jedi poster my sister gave me.
Nice.
The original from the movie,
nice.
Movie marquee.
When the Force Awakens was coming out, and they did that big merchandising push, I bought all of these wooden wall art posters. So they had the printouts of the posters of the one sheets, but it was all a wooden. It was printed to wood. So on my wall over here, I've got the Revenge of the Jedi poster in wood on my wall, as well as like Force Awakens and Return of the Jedi and all the other ones. Anyone I could get my hands on, pretty much, I picked up. So yeah, those are always some cool posters. I'd love to get an original. I had a friend of mine in LA that had an original, and I was like, I'm gonna come back and steal that shit.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll kill you.
It's not in perfect shape. There is one crease in the middle, just a slight crease, but it's an original marquee poster.
That away then. No. It's like getting an action figure. You got it in the box. Like, there's just a little bit of a tiny little tear over here. You know, throw the whole thing away.
Yeah, and you'll be in the dumpster digging it out.
It's going to cost you more money to just keep it there than it will ever. Like,
hey, don't knock the dumpster diving. When I moved from San Diego to Los Angeles,
that Matt Jarbo.
I don't care. I worked at a drive-in, and we had a swap meet there on the weekends, and so people would dump a bunch of stuff, good stuff. They didn't want to take home with them, so they would just leave it. So on Saturday and Sunday nights, I would go in. I'd literally like go into the dumpsters, and I would look to see what I could find, and I would pull out a bunch of stuff, and then I would just resell it on Craigslist, and I made a couple $1,000 pretty quickly as a way to keep it all going. And so like I'm sorry.
Yeah,
is that where you found Nicotina's mom?
In the dumpster? No, on Craigslist.
I've been using it for a week.
Oh, okay.
About his mom.
I like to mess with Nicotina when I'm on his show. I like to make him. I like to make him blush.
Me too.
Best I can. But all right, John. So I got a actually pretty decent lineup of people that are still trying to get in. So we're gonna kind of blaze through this here. So real quick, what's the big hot topic on your mind?
Oh, I just voted for that Ray guy, the one that you said vote yes for.
I didn't say vote yes. I said, is he telling the truth? And I want you to answer honestly.
Yeah, I said yes.
Yes, that's right. I'm stealing an election on YouTube on a Friday night.
Yeah, I said yes because normally actors wouldn't bring it up,
Yeah.
Because the directors have so much control and and money, available money. So, but just to do that usually means that they're telling the truth. And but it's nice he's got all the audio to back it up. So he'll probably get reinstated, I imagine, because possible lawsuits,
Well, this is again, it's all negotiation via the trades. That's all it is. It's all negotiation via the trades. And I do have a feeling that Ray is going to come out ahead on all this. I just don't know what that's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like them going like, would you like a Cyborg solo movie? Like that ain't going to happen. But Ray coming out and actually like having like there be a statement from Hamada. I think that's at the end of the game, at the end of the day, I think that's what he ultimately wants, because that's going to prove that like he's got what's the word I want to use here? That like, he got them to bend the knee and then to admit fault, which means once you admit the problem, you can then start to fix the problem. And that's really what it boils down to, is getting them to acknowledge that there was something at fault there. And I mean, I don't know, maybe Enosh, you disagree with me on that one?
No, I mean, it's, I just thought it would go that way just to be a smart move. Sometimes, sometimes you want to get rid of negative press, even though I understand that all press is good, but sometimes you want to get rid of negative press to not lose profits. So,
well, I mean, what profits? To be fair, what profits? I mean, Wonder Woman has not done very well theatrically, and that's not its fault. I will be honest there. I mean, the movie and I have our issues, but it's not its fault.
Well, I mean, Wonder Woman, it was like I was okay with about 2/3 of the movie. Then I just dropped out of enjoying the movie to the point where it just became disbelievable. And from that point on, it was like, well, okay.
I enjoyed it, but Matt, I had to laugh because even I am not as the bewildered. Even I am bewildered, I should say, and not, so clouded judgment that I can believe why Warner Brothers, submitted it for Best Picture, and
because there's literally nothing else. There's literally nothing else that they could have submitted to Best Picture.
Come on.
Well,
I mean, they
win
also
if
put
it's
like
the
Best
only
Actress
movie there,
and I think like Best Screenplay, and they submitted it to like 15 categories.
Yeah, look.
So
no,
at that point, it's literally just trying to like,
look, man.
You know what I mean? Like anywhere they can.
I defended it, and I enjoyed it. Popcorn flick, and I look. That's one thing, but come on, Best Picture and Screenplay. Come on, no. We're not. They're hoping that they can pull off a Black Panther. Yeah, no.
They're hoping.
I'm sorry. Now, what did you ask me? You just asked me something about my opinion.
I forget.
I forgot what it was.
I forgot what it was, but that's okay.
You were saying something, and then
So anyway, all right, John, we're gonna move on, man. But thank you very much for waiting. Appreciate it. We'll talk again soon, all right, man.
All right, take care.
Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we got a few people in here. Let's jump right on in. All right, Brian Skywalker. Brian,
hey man, how's it going?
what's going
it's
on?
going
Bro?
good. So I'm assuming
Brian,
you want to.
If you're Skywalker, like, did you earn that name, or was
No,
it's at the end of the movie?
It's basically it's after my blog because I cover the theme park industry and
Yeah, he's a big theme park guy.
That's awesome. Man. That's awesome. No, I had to joke with you. I mean, like, is it controversial that you're a Skywalker?
No, it's just because
you just pick that name at the end of the movie.
No, it's just my take. When I feel like when I go to like traveling, I feel like I'm a Skywalker on
I
adventure.
feel you, man. I feel you. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, I'm gonna feel good though, man. I felt really good watching WandaVision. I feel it was everything I wanted in that series. But yeah, you as you said, Matt, you hit the nail right on the head. The AP system right now is everyone is pissed. I mean,
okay. So before you dive into that, what he's talking about is the annual pass holder situation over at Disneyland.
Yeah,
when they announced yesterday.
Yeah,
for those people who weren't here in the stream yesterday, because we talked about it yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
So let me just. So they announced that they were more or less suspending the annual pass holder situation. For the indefinite future, they are going to come back with a new one once they kind of get back up and running, but they're really afraid of all the annual pass holders rushing back to the park and taking up space from people who are going to pay premium dollar to go to Disneyland. And I reread another article about that last night. 'Cause I grabbed the wrong article because you sent me a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the wrong article before I went live, and I went back and I reread it, and I'm all like, they really don't understand like what's gonna happen, because like the annual pass holders, they may not be dropping the, because I mean, when I went last time, I spent $300 for like two people for one park for one day, and I felt that was like not. I wanted to go see Star Wars, so that's why I did it. But like I felt the value wasn't really there,
right?
I'm like, this should be a park hopper pass. I should be able to go do both parks, whatever.
Some background knowledge. Basically, before this whole situation is that when Galaxy's Edge was opening up, they were automatically increasing the holdout rates. They were automatically jacking up the annual pass rates because anytime they invest that like a new expansion for that budget, they need to earn that profit back. And guess what they do? They increase all the ticket prices.
But they make like $6 billion in profit.
Yeah, I know.
Every single, it's not like they're hurting for money. It's not like Bob Iger is going to go, well, shit, it's a little bit low this quarter. Hold on, I'm going to go down to the boardwalk and give hand jobs for $50. That's not going to happen.
No,
like $6 billion.
That's a wild ride.
Well, I mean, all things considered, he dresses up like Mr. Toad, so
Yeah, I mean, but now I was like throwing shade at Iger because now it's like, well, him and his wife donated 5 million people, and I seen all these people on the whole Twitter sphere saying that. So how come he can deal with that $5 million? So all the 28,000 cast members have been laid off, and all the rest for the theme park division. And I'm like, they make a fair point. But no, it's very unfortunate. It's very shitty that I personally, this has been a system that's been in works for the past 4 decades, and honestly, it needs a fresh start. The numerous complaints about people with the monthly payment system, especially and also this is where actually we're shocking. The top premier pass that's affected for Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Well, guess what? That got affected too, and that's paying like worth of thousands of dollars of profit.
People pay a lot of cash for that top tier pass.
Yeah.
I know people who personally pay for that top tier pass. They don't want no blackout dates.
No.
You know, like they want everything. They want to make sure that they get in. And when you live in Southern California, you will meet a lot of Disney files.
Yeah.
So people who like live their whole life around Disney's schedule, and that's okay. I mean, I like Disneyland quite a bit.
You know, it was quite funny. Universal actually Studios made a Pop Shot. It's like, hey guys, let you know, remind you that we love you. We support you guys. And everything Pop Shots at Disney say.
You're talking a little bit too fast. I'm having trouble keeping up with you right now.
No, I'm sorry.
So I hate to cut you short, but I still have like a lot of people to get to.
Yeah.
So people are upset about the annual pass holder situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense here. Now, in your experience covering the park, do you feel that when they bring it back, is it going to be like more expensive, or is it going to be more restrictive? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they're going to figure out personally going forward now with how COVID has crippled the Parks and Resort division. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, there's no way in hell they're throwing up a multi-million-dollar membership. What they're doing is just going to retool the system and saying that, you know what, this is a system we have for 4 decades, and I think it's going forward. Personally, in my opinion, I mean, I'm now business, financial expert, but in my experience of how much I've been covering, both coasts, but especially for Disneyland, they definitely need to. It's like what can they optimize for the best quality pass for their guests. I mean, because right now people are at the point that's saying Disney does not care about the guest experience anymore. They want more. They want for the bang for the buck, and the monthly payment system.
I have a big complaint about this is it might make me come across like an asshole, but I don't care. Like when I'm on Haunted Mansion. And I love Haunted Mansion.
Oh, I love Haunted Mansion too.
Right? Like Vincent Price's intro is awesome. That is just so it establishes.
No, that's actually Paul Frees.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Paul Frees. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I got that wrong. But anyway, it's the establishment of the voiceover, the narration.
Yeah.
As it's setting the stage, and then as it goes up, and it's all like you get into the cart, and then it goes through the spiel, and then it cuts in with the line in Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a good transition.
Yeah.
It's just a hard, here's, keeping your arms and your feet inside the, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like, why is that here? Why is it like, I don't see that in like any other, I've always felt, and this has been going on for like over a decade now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's always kind of bugged me the wrong way. I'm like, look, you are establishing immersion, and then you take us out of the immersion when we're going up the track to go down into the house, into the mansion and stuff. Like just move that to the beginning before you keep it there, but move it to the beginning when like as you're getting onto it before the narration. Yeah. It's just such a weird, because I feel like that just takes you out of the experience.
It does. Yeah.
And so, but it's like, also I noticed that like, they are these days going more for, how much they can get out of you versus the guest experience. But then again, they realize that, a lot of people who come on in, are like, they come in from China, they come in from Asia, at least at Disneyland. And so they, those people are paying out a lot on money, and so they don't care.
Like if I could bring in like a recent example, like look how busy it can be for especially on a demographic speaking, for like the Asian population in Southern California when the Chinese New Year comes up. I mean, that's a big, draw in. They want to go in to have some fun with their families, and that's why they go to the theme parks, because, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, they host, some, festivities and other things like within Chinatown and all those other fun stuff. But personally, I think, Matt, it's going forward, they need to really optimize saying what is their best, for them, because Ken Patrick, they said in his statement as the president of Disneyland, said that we're sunsetting the program, which means I think in the language, they're going to retool it.
I mean, they're going to have to, like I'll give you this brief example, and then I got to let you go. I'm going to move on. But like, my girlfriend and I were talking about taking a cruise because we both turned 40 in the next year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wonder what cruises are costing right now, because the tourism industry is dead as a result of COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
And I looked at a cruise from Long Beach, California, down to Catalina Island, Ensenada, and back. It's a 4-day. I did this when I turned 30, and it was like $800 and some odd for the two of us for the 4 days. It was cheaper back then. Because I did a trip to Alaska a couple years later, and I paid for 4 people, and that was like $5,000 for the 4 of us.
Damn.
That was very expensive. Great trip. I loved every second of it, but that was very expensive. And to go the same trip down to Mexico and back is $164 per person.
God, oh, wow.
Like, it would cost me more money to do a round trip ticket to Long Beach from Seattle than it would to take a 4-day all-inclusive cruise down to Catalina and then Ensenada, which is a nice town, by the way.
Yeah.
And then come back like that. So like right now you're going to be able to get a lot of deals. So that's why my girlfriend and I are actually plotting a 2023 trip to Walt Disney World. We're going to start putting money aside for that.
That's
because our kids will be a little bit older then, and they'll be able to experience it more. So
one last thing, funny you mentioned that. That's actually when the Disney's new cruise line ship for the Disney Wish is supposed to be set in sail in 2023. So it was supposed to subject in 2022, but due to COVID and is being located in Port Canaveral, well, rest of the industry is pretty much shot because what can you do, you know?
Yeah, no, I get you, man. I think I don't really care much about the Disneyland cruise. I just want Galactic Star Cruiser. That's what I'm down for.
It's going to be a lot of money, man. It's surprising.
I know it's going to be a lot of money, and I'm not above sucking dick to go. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I have a soft chin.
I totally forgot.
You're pretty much gonna have to.
It actually,
you're gonna have to. Oh yeah, yeah.
It actually opens up this year, and I actually was hearing the rumor reports that it costs anywhere between like almost like $479 like a night or whatever. Because,
yeah, no, it's good. Well, because it's a 4-day experience. It's like what
two night.
Yeah, it's like 3-day 2-night sort of thing. No, I thought it was 2. I thought it was 2 days 3 nights.
No, it's 2-day. It's on their website.
Well, no, but I thought it was 2 days 3 nights.
I thought
something like
because it's like because you have your transport to get there that counts as like the the first night, and then you have the 2 full days including the excursion.
Yep.
I mean, I was talking about it with a Star Wars only a while back, and I was like, go in halvesies on a room or something, or get a few of us YouTubers together to pool our money and then like go out there. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to get a bunch of pro Star Wars YouTubers out there and just
I showed you a picture of the room.
I know their rooms are small as hell. Like they showed like the cubby hole that the kids like. It's like a bunk bed.
It looks like a Japanese capsule. It looks like a fucking Japanese capsule, man.
Like, as long as it's comfortable, I'll be fine with it. As long as it's comfortable, it's good. But all right, man, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna let you go. But thanks for coming in, Brian, and we'll talk again soon. All right,
yeah, man. It's always a pleasure as usual,
thanks.
Man. So
thanks a lot, man. Have a good one. All right. So I'm just going to kind of rush through here because I am hitting the end of my time. All right. Skywalker the Jedi. What's going on, man? Thanks for waiting.
Skywalker the Jedi.
Well, it's 2 eyes. I was going to err on the side of caution.
We got another Skywalker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is another.
There is another.
Did you earn it or did you like inherit it? Because I guess that's the question we're going to ask everybody right now.
All the
Definitely earned. Back in the day. But no, I just wanted to tap in with you guys and talk about this whole like Ray Fisher and WB situation. Like I never really knew about the behind the scenes of movies and everything till I started getting into it, watching these comic book movies and stuff. And it's just been very disheartening to kind of like get a peek behind the curtain and to see like just how nasty and like cruel and just how crazy some of these situations can actually be. And so it's just like when I saw that Ray drop that clip earlier, I was so proud and I was so happy because I feel like there's been so many people that have like for no reason been trying to discredit this man. And it's like the optics of us going through what we went through, like as like in speaking about the Black community in particular this year, and then for them to go and remove, right, like the only Black superhero, right, that you guys have been having, like it's very disheartening, and it kind of hurt, right, and so I'm definitely standing with Ray Fisher 100%. And I feel like at the very least, we need an apology from Walter Hamada publicly. And only then can there be some kind of healing and like us trying to move forward. Because at the end of the day, I'm really just here for Zack Snyder and I've been a big, long time supporter of the movement pretty much like since the day that Justice League 2017 came out. Like I couldn't believe that they were gonna redo all this stuff in 5-6 months, and I had been kind of like going hard and defending them, like, yo, there's no way that that they're gonna actually remove a mustache from Henry Cavill's face digitally, right? And
they did, and we suffered.
Right. So so like ever since that moment, I mean, I've donated money, time, and stuff, right? Got all the shirts and merch and stuff. And it's just I just really, really would like to move forward. I feel like all of these people are really upset that we have won. Like I tell people all of the time, like I really feel like this Snyder Cut movement proved that, like, when people band together, you can get change. Like they did not want to do this. They did not want to give us this movie whatsoever. They told us for 3 years that it was fake. It was never coming out, didn't exist, right? And then now that we're getting it, it's been nothing but just public backlash since then, right? And I'm just really looking forward to this movie actually coming out so we can see the real performances of all of these actors and actresses. And I just really think that first we need that apology from Walter Hamada before there can be any kind of healing.
I agree with you, and I kind of want to add to that and just say also Jeff Johns. I think that's
absolutely.
That's a big factor. But I think also right now Hamada has put himself in between, because remember what he said to Ray: "My job is to protect the director." Right? Like my job is to protect.
What a horrible.
But that's actually a producer line.
Incorrect. Yes.
Well, no, that's actually correct in many cases, but in this situation, it's not good. But the producer's job is to work with the director, right? To help facilitate the director's needs, to be the go-between. Like their job is to actually act in that capacity. So the way, if you read it in,
but you got to protect everybody.
Well, you got to. No, you have to. And I'm not trying to like defend it.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, but from the standpoint of just like I got to protect the director. It's like not at the expense of everybody who.
Yeah. No. In this case, like it's got a double meaning, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think the way that but in reality, it is, there are elements at play. The thing is though, is that Johns been the primary target for what he did. They have protected him. They have enabled him. They've lifted him up. They're backing him publicly. Especially Ann Sarnoff yesterday and her particular approach. And then you've got, Hamada is now the kind of the target. He has made himself the target for Ray, the target for these conversations, and no one's talking about Jeff Johns anymore, right? They're talking about Hamada.
That's actually a really good point. But like, I feel like with Jeff Johns getting phased out more and more, it seems right on the surface that may or may not be true. The future will tell whether or not that's true. But I feel like what Walter, like you said, Walter has made himself the target by some of these statements that he's made, and by the timing. Like there's like every time something trends with Ray, there's immediately some other huge story that just drops coincidentally immediately afterwards, or like immediately surrounding the situation. And I feel like that can only be done by people that are still in power, and Walter seems to be flexing that power. And
well, it's him and Toby. They're protecting their brand.
Absolutely.
They're protecting what they feel is what they don't want to lose control. And like I've said earlier in the episode, I'm pretty sure Enosh will agree with me. No one talks about what else is going on in DC and in any way like they do with the Snyder Cut.
Absolutely.
Good or bad. And
absolutely.
like again, what was
included?
Exactly. What was the fight over Shazam? Henry Cavill cameoing as Superman.
Yes.
Right? Like that was a big fight over that movie, and I still am not happy the way it turned out, even though I love the movie. I would love them to actually like eventually reshoot that scene and like add him in or something along those lines. But there's always been a Snyder Cut connection to this world, And I think they are, they realize that they're losing. And so they've been kind of lashing out. And honestly, God bless Ray Fisher on this front. Like him coming out and actually making these, he's taking these public hits to his credibility and to his name. And, we're defending him. I mean, it's not even really about us, to be honest with you, because we're speaking to the choir. Let's be fair, but I would like, and I know he knows he has the support, which ultimately is the important thing, is that he doesn't feel alone and he doesn't feel like he's being left. It's like, because, I see a lot of these comments from people and they're just like, oh, he's a C-list actor. Fuck him. What does it matter? Like, dude, like he's an actor. Like I'll give you guys an example of like shitty behavior from a boss. Okay. And this is something I went through when I lived in LA. I was a social media manager for a comedian by the name of Max Amini. He's an Iranian comedian. And he brought me on to manage his Twitter, his Facebook, and just kind of general social media. And we'd originally agreed upon $15 an hour at 10 hours a week was just the bare minimum. I went through my first 10 hours. I was writing jokes for his Twitter account. I'm a Canadian dude, right? Like my family's from Canada and I'm writing Iranian themed jokes, mostly about falafels because I'm racially insensitive. And but he liked them. But anyway, we get to the end of the first week and he goes, I'm like, okay, well, I submit my invoice. I'm like, okay, $150. And he goes like, no, I'll give you 120. We'll do 12 an hour. And I'm like, but we agreed to 150. And he's all like, did we? And I'm like, yeah, when you hired me, we agreed at 15 an hour. And he's like, well, I can do 12 an hour. And at the time I was on unemployment and I was on food stamps and I was broke and I needed the money. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And I did this for a couple of weeks. And so then right before Halloween 2012, this is as I was getting ready to leave, like more or less coming to the end of my time in LA. He was the last kind of job I had. He says, hey, why don't you come down to the Laugh Factory? I'm performing tonight. And I was like, okay, cool. I head down to Sunset Boulevard. I've never been. This seems like a lot of fun. So he left my name for the person at the door. I got in, I sat down. And during his set, he kind of gets into it with a heckler. And he goes, oh, hey, you should follow me on Facebook. I post funny things sometimes. And kind of like shoots a look at me because he knew I was in the audience. And I'm like, that's a little, okay. Ha, 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 ha. It's a little bit dickish. All right. Like he doesn't give me any instruction on anything. So, okay. And then at the end of the show, we're talking outside and he just goes, so, hey, by the way, I'm going overseas tomorrow for a couple of weeks. So I don't need you anymore. Thanks for coming down, but I got to fire you. So he embarrassed me on stage, called me out in a way that only I would know, and then fired me moments later after the show. And, and like there was that. And like and that the thing is, that is how LA operates. As I've said before, the entertainment industry
I know.
Yeah, you get it, dude. You get it, man. It's like, and I've been in other situations where it's like I was the viral marketing manager or the viral media manager of a movie called Devil's Pass. It was a Rennie Harlan guy who did Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2. He did that movie, a point of view found footage about the Dyatlov Pass incident. And I went in there and I brought a whole presentation and I pitched him a bunch of stuff that'd be like Blair Witch Project level cool shit. But I said, I don't have the ability to make this myself. I would need a budget to hire people to make this because I'm an ideas guy.
Yeah.
And so they kind of took a little bit of what I said. And then they brought me in and they showed me the first cut of the movie and it was terrible. And I made the mistake of telling them my issues with the movie, hoping it would make it a better film. Right. They fired me the next day because I don't know why, but they fired me the next day, So it's like this is how this industry works. It doesn't mean you're not gonna be able to find another job. People trying to say raise unemployed. That's not how it's going to work, man. Like if Feige wants to fuck with DC, which he likes to do, he'll just hit right up and go, man, look, we have, why don't you come work with us? Look, here's how you look at Marvel. There's a reason Marvel is able to pull in massive talent.
Christian Bale, which went, yep,
massive talent and sign them to multi-contract films to where they are happy to come back. Chris Evans coming back as Captain America would not even be a reality if he hated working for Marvel.
Absolutely.
Like that whole thing from yesterday. So they have created an environment over there that it's controlled, but it's also welcoming. and it does do what it does, but people trust in the process. While DC is more filmmaker oriented, they might be filmmaker oriented, but behind the scenes, we're seeing all of this, like, you know, string pulling and what appears to be just like egos run amok. And it's diluting the trust in the brand. And like, look at Enosh. Enosh is like, I'm just going to boycott the Flash movie.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm definitely not going to go support it if he's written out. Definitely not.
Yeah. Well,
I just don't know. Like even if I don't boycott it, I know that if I just sit there and watch, I hate the word boycott because it just means like I'm gonna sit here and like I'm going to somehow try to, take down this movie, right? Like I don't want to do that to the Flash movie because first of all, I love the Flash. My son loves the Flash. Like I don't want to do that to the Flash. I love Ezra Miller's portrayal of the Flash. I love the idea of this movie, and I have loved the idea of this movie. But I realize if I go see this movie while I sit there or whenever I see this movie, if this is not rectified and something changes, I'm just going to sit there pissed off for 2 hours.
Yeah.
No matter what coolness I see on this.
Like I was in watching Justice League, right? Like I was literally from the first frame and like seeing Henry Cavill's face, I literally just like my stomach sank. Because I realized that all of it was true. In that one moment, I knew that from the entire beginning, the entire experience was going to be something compromised and that I was going to see something crazy. And then there's Danny Elfman's music, right? Batman's cracking one-liners, which is what my entire point was. Like, I would always tell people that there has to be a difference between these DC and Marvel movies, because I would always say, do you want Batman cracking one-liners? And everybody would always say no.
I got that today. Someone's like, oh, no WandaVision review. Matt must hate it. It was one of the comments from last night's live stream. And I'm like, no, I loved it. I loved WandaVision. I just don't really know if I want to review it. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of in that weird area with it. But no, I loved it. And I'd love to talk about it. But I'm like, he's like, oh, I said, no, I really liked it. And he goes, oh, but you probably wanted to not be funny. Because you don't want DC movies to be funny. And I'm like,
I love the first Guardians and everything, right? Like I thought too, the humor got a little bit too childish, and I felt the same way about Thor Ragnarok, just because like the first two movies, the tone was totally different, and then all of a sudden I'm watching this one, and then it's like, you know, when I saw the skull like jaw drop, I was like, oh my goodness, and then I'm seeing Hulk ass cheek jokes and everything, and I'm like, yo, like, you know, this is crazy, you know. But at the same time, I just really want a cohesive thing where like we're able to just get these movies and we're not trying to publicly shame the actors and people that are working for you and trying to seemingly, you know, dead the hype for one of your own projects.
That's the weird thing too, is like I feel like they're trying to actively hurt the Flash. You know, like doesn't that seem like that a little bit, Enosh? Like they're trying to actively hurt that movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like this is like their way of, at the end, if they somehow sabotage this film, then at the end they can say, see there, nobody really wanted to continue with the
Zack Snyder's
Snyderverse anyways, because we gave you his Flash, we gave you his Batman, we gave you his Wonder Woman. Who else is going to be in there? We gave you all that stuff, and we tried to continue this in some fashion. Nobody wants to see that. And it's the same thing that they've continued to do, right? Look what they did to Justice League, and somehow that was
absolutely
Zack Snyder's fault. Look what happened to Batman v Superman. They cut out a half hour of that, and then they blamed that on Zack Snyder. And then when they released Zack Snyder's version, with the Ultimate Edition, that does well.
Which weirdly they announced before the movie came out. They announced that the longer version was coming on Blu-ray before the movie came out, which was super weird to me as well. It has seemed like at every turn they've kind of kneecapped it.
Well, never mind the fact too that there was the articles that came out in February 2016 about how the BVS had gotten standing ovations at early screenings. Right. There was articles about that came out. So yeah, they were trying to like hype it up. And then I remember when I saw the article on IGN talking about the Ultimate Edition, I'm like, well, I mean, like, okay, I mean, because I thought, oh, well, Watchmen has got the multiple editions.
Sure.
You know, I'm thinking, but I still loved Watchmen theatrical. It made sense. So I'm like, sure, fine, cool. I'm all good. Yeah, I'm cool with that. And then like I see the movie, I see BVS, and I'm like, and then after that, I'm like, to show me, you know, when I saw that 60-second clip that Warner's put online the Sunday after the movie came out, and it was Lex getting arrested by the FBI. Yeah, and
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, when you get to see Steppenwolf and whatnot. And I showed it to a friend of mine who hated the theatrical cut, and he was like, "Why wasn't this in the movie? Why wasn't this in the movie?" You know, and he was complaining about that. And then we see the Ultimate Edition. He's like, "Oh my god, that was so good." And yeah, it's just that whole notion of they've I feel like they've kneecapped it across the board, and it's pretty sad.
They
But
don't want to admit that Zach has done any good. They want that narrative because they want to go back and sideline that and go back to this whatever else that they can do going forward. You know, they want to make a new Superman. Look, I'm right with you. I got to the end of Shazam and see, okay, so that's how I felt. Like, that's what I'm worried about. I'm going to go watch the Flash movie and I'm going to feel the way that I felt at the end of Shazam throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right? Get to the end of Shazam and it's like, it's the outfit, it's everything, it's in the same world, it's everything, and you're going to tell me that you just couldn't get Henry Cavill to do one simple little scene somewhere, anywhere, fly the dude in, something like it, but it makes no sense. They keep shooting themselves in the foot with this. It's like, oh, well, he had a mustache, so we couldn't do anything about that. We just had to take it off. Well, then tell me then, why is people who with like a simple computer are doing a better version in their mom's basement than what you guys spent millions of dollars to do? And then he's freaking coming back to life. Have you seen what Superman looked like when he came back to life? For God's sake, he had facial hair. He had long hair. It's not a mullet, by the way. It was never a mullet.
It's a mullet. It's a mullet.
There's a difference. Long hair is long hair.
Whatever.
It's mullet, and you need to learn the difference, or you could get out of here, Jarbo. Oh, wait a second. This is not. Anyways, the thing is. Yeah. Welcome to $3 Theater with I don't have a channel for a week, maybe, so maybe I'll just do
I'm trying to go live every day. I'm trying to go live every day that I can.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
so
you had an opportunity, WB. Like, literally, just give him some more facial hair and he'll be fine. But no, we gotta.
They made him look like Adam Baldwin.
Bob, right? Let me show you some kids. Let me see that cell phone you got there. Yeah, see, you're just walking around with your cell phone, and then all of a sudden it's on fire. You know, it's like, God, it pisses me off as a DC fan because I love DC and I love what Zack Snyder's done, and I just see it. They just piss it away. They literally just piss away. They don't deserve the characters that they have at Warner Brothers. It's not the characters. Everybody who tells me, like Superman just can't be done right in today's day and age. These characters, like, shut up with that. They can be. You just got to commit to it.
That's the problem, is they don't commit. And I honestly thought that the problem at Warner Brothers with Justice League was Kevin Tsuchihara. I thought it was Kevin Tsuchihara. I thought he was doing everything. And then like now we're in kind of a very similar situation. You're like, oh, it's fucking Toby Emmerich. Or it could just be the culture that's come out of Warner Brothers. And that is like, and this is where it's so weird to say this, and I've said this before, we are looking at a telecom conglomerate, AT&T, who is traditionally hated. It's one of the most hated companies in America. It gets crapped on all the time. And we as fans are going like, please, I mean, like, you guys ain't that bad. Like, you guys kind of get it. You get what we're going for.
Let me ask you both something here real quick. So Ben Affleck, he's supposed to come back for this movie, and everything, but why did he leave? Because it was toxic, because of all the stuff that was going on. He was going through obviously things in his own personal life as well, but also with the fact that they were back and forth. They couldn't make a decision. He had a movie, didn't have a movie. They were doing this, they weren't doing that. It drove him to drink. Like he just talked about in this article, actually, he throws in this one-liner in there though, about basically what the situation was like. He says something about he took the outfit, the Batman costume, and he took it to his son's birthday party, and he said that was worth like something like all the pain or whatever of being
all the suffering.
Yeah, from Justice League, but he says Justice League.
Justice League.
He
That's
said,
what, so So he left because it was never because Ben Affleck didn't want to be Batman. It was never anything like that. It was all this stuff. Do you think at some point Ben Affleck just says, if they keep up with this stuff, he says, screw it, I'm not coming back for that?
I think that they were trying to push all of them out right immediately after they saw the reaction to BVS, the theatrical cut, which even like that was just, I feel like that was mostly like overblown and it was online. I saw BVS at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. If it's almost 1,000 people, it's pretty much like the biggest theater in Southern California.
Yeah, it's a nice
and
theater.
It's packed house. I mean, seat to seat, right? Like not like there's no room.
Yeah.
And when Wonder Woman saved Batman's life, like that was the loudest ovation I have heard in any movie theater ever, including post and Endgame and Infinity War and whatever. Like, and the movie got a standing ovation at the end. When I'm leaving, right, because they had the suits there and the Batmobile and everything, and like I'm asking the ushers, I'm like, yo, has this been getting this type of reaction? All of them said every single showing had a huge standing ovation at the end of it, right? So like it was the weirdest thing because I stayed away from all of the reviews the whole time. So I didn't read anything until after I watched it. And to sit there and to have the greatest movie going experience of my life happen. And then to everybody sitting there bashing this movie, like online, it just seemed totally weird. Like it was totally weird and I didn't get it. Like I understand that with the missing 30 minutes, right, you have to kind of make some logical jumps as to what was really going on with Lex and stuff like that. I totally get it, right? And the North Africa scene, the context isn't really there for them, like really showing you that they were.
Well, the first act of the movie, which is supposed to establish the narrative that takes us through to the end, had so many plot points cut out of that thing.
Yes,
to where
absolutely.
It's like that was the most frustrating part. But it's like, but the final act, you know, with everyone fighting, that's what everyone kind of like gets, you know, that's what they kind of hold on to. It's like when I criticize the movie Bumblebee and people go, oh no, Bumblebee was a good movie. And I'm like, the first 5 minutes were good. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, and that was a late minute addition to the film anyway. Like we all want an animated movie about the war for Cybertron, which they have, I think, 2 of them on Netflix now. They got the Siege and
season 2 right now, man.
Is it good? I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
It's good.
Okay. Well, okay. So Skywalker, I don't want to cut you off, man, but like I got a few more people to get to.
How I felt coming out of Man of Steel, though, because I thought Man of Steel was brilliant, and I thought this is awesome. This will finally be what everybody will herald as the Superman movie everybody wanted. And then like day later, because I saw it 2 days early, and then like 2 days later, I'm starting to see like all these reviews and stuff, and I'm like, what the heck?
Right. Absolutely. Yep. Yo,
with BVS or
no, with just Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Oh, see, well, because I went into it already thinking it was going to suck. Like I did, because I was in Hall H at Comic-Con when they showed off the trailers the year before, and it didn't do anything for me. It just did nothing for me. And then all the trailers is because I've said this before, Warner's over marketed Man of Steel. They over marketed that movie like crazy. And so I was like, kind of like, I was just apathetic by the time it came out. I was like, oh, just get this. Cause I'm like, you know, like, let's just get through it and see how it does. And then I was at my drive-in with my buddy, hardcore DC guy. And we're watching the opening Krypton scene. And I was like, it's actually pretty good. Like, all right. Like, okay. I mean, Russell Crowe's kicking some ass. Michael Shannon. All right. Okay. And then we start watching more and more and more of the movie. And I'm like, I just gotta come back in and watch this thing. And I kind of dig it. I'm kind of digging it a bit. So I got my girlfriend, and on my next night off, we went back down to the drive-in and we watched it. And I was like, God, man, that was just really good. I really liked that. So I called up my best friend. I'm like, dude, have you seen Man of Steel yet? He's like, nope. When's your next day off? Let's go down to the theater and watch it again. You know, and like, I was wrong. I will fully admit I was wrong about Man of Steel. And that's why I was so hyped for BVS. I was so incredibly hyped for BVS. And cause I'd been defending Affleck and Gal for 3 years almost at that point. And so many people, so many people on YouTube were like just attacking them constantly, right? Like a lot of these people that are like, oh, I always loved no, you haven't. Like, don't even lie. Some of you out there are absolutely against it till you saw it, like as I was with Man of Steel. But Snyder earned my trust, and so I'm like, all right. I went and I watched it, and my girlfriend is all excited to take me to go see it. And we get done with the movie, and she's like, what'd you think? And I'm like, I don't know what to think about this movie. I even put out a video on my other channel saying you should go and spoil BVS for yourself before going to see it. And my whole reason for that was because the more I read up about the characters and read up about the movie, the more I felt like it kind of completed this picture in my mind of being able to better understand what I had seen, or at least to maybe help some people not be disappointed by the theatrical. Because it wasn't good. It just wasn't a complete movie. And so then when I got because I got the digital version of BVS Ultimate, I remember getting up that morning, like my girlfriend was at work. I had the apartment to myself. I closed all the blinds. I brought it up on my TV. I cranked the volume and I sat there for 3 hours. I didn't fucking move, you know? And like, I loved it. And I was so hyped for Justice League and that trailer they dropped a few months later. So it's like, as a fan who's like really in on this stuff, and I'm more of a Marvel guy in general, but I love what Snyder has done. I will defend it because like he's earned my trust with it 100%. And knowing how the industry operates, you know, you live in LA, I lived in North Hollywood. We get it. We understand that there's a lot behind the scenes, and it's like, that's the more frustrating aspect of it. Absolutely. Because you would love it just to be about telling a good story. But when you get egos involved and you get all this other, you know, press nonsense involved, it just becomes this massive mess. And it's, God, I just want the Snyder Cut to come out so that we can finally put it behind us, you know?
Yep. And like, then it seems like now we've only just begun.
Oh,
it seems like we've only just begun this other fight now. So
it is. It's a nonstop. You know, I've talked about Ray Fisher more this week than literally anything else. And I'm like, would you just give me a night off? Would you just give me a night? Can I just talk about like WandaVision tonight or something? Or can I just sit in my room and play video games and not feel the need to do a live stream? And then Ray's like, nope. But I respect the guy. So, but all right, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Great conversation. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a pleasure. You guys have a great one in Poindexter. I'm about to go sub right now.
Yeah, sub to Poindexter Lounge. Enoch is a great guy.
I'll be back there in a week.
Absolutely.
He's lying to you, but that's okay.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, dude. Have yourself a good one. All right. So we got a couple more people to get to real quick. These are good conversations. I'm enjoying having them. All right. The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Hanks, Ballsack 69.
He.
What's up? Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. All right, man. So I know you've been waiting back there a while. So what's on your mind tonight?
First of all, obviously this is my first time calling in. So Matt, very nice to meet you informally. Enoch, nice seeing you again.
Good seeing you, bro.
Are you awake? How are you feeling? Are you energized this evening?
Well, I would say the best feeling to describe me is look at my avatar right now.
I mean, that's like a post-coital face. You know what I mean? That's like the moment of release. Is that it's like that's the pure ecstasy right there. That's the money shot image. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, and it's appropriate because I'm not on Enoch's show. I'm on Jarbo's show, so
that's right.
You can family audience. I can say the F word, but I won't.
I do all the time, but yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah, man. First of all, Enoch, I'm sorry what happened to you, man. YouTube will miss you for a week, but you'll be back on your feet, man. No time.
I will. Well, thank you, buddy.
But Jarbo, I've always wanted to talk to you because I've tuned into your videos a lot. And I can honestly say that it's very refreshing to see someone as crazy as film and TV, especially film, as I am. You're just you know your shit, man. You know what I mean? You're a true fan.
Thank you. I really I love movies. I think people don't realize that. They always they get mad at me because they're just like, you like everything. I'm like, yeah. Do you know what goes into making a movie? Like, I mean, have you ever, like, not you specifically, but it's like, do you know what goes into making a project? You know, yeah, do you know, motherfucker? No, but it's like, I've been on set. I've walked into some of these, you know, we shot the opening of this movie once on one of the Reaver ships from Firefly. It had been picked up by the studio, and we needed an alien ship, and so we spent the day, shooting at this studio in like North Hollywood. And so I got to walk around on there. Like I've worked with Star Trek actors, and I've worked with a bunch of other people over the years. And it's like, I just love the idea of making a movie is cool. The process of making it sometimes is even cooler than the film itself. You know what I mean? It's like what went into it, like what made it tick? How did it come together? And that's what I'm always drawn to, because I like to know that when I watch movies. I like to sit there and see the little bits and know what I can know about it, just to kind of better have a greater experience. And so that's my passion on that stuff. And I will be honest though, I feel like this last 6 months it's been difficult. It's been difficult because it's like, you know what I'm talking about, man. It's like everything is like shut down, so I can't go see a movie. I haven't gone since Sonic, which is like last February.
Man.
I feel like, because my theaters are still shut down here again. And then all the negativity, like it's just, you can't. It's like no one cares about anything other than superhero movies right now. And I get that, and I'm not against it, but it's like, why aren't we geeking out on some of the smaller films? And there's a ton of them that come out all the time, but like, if those of us who do YouTube, we get kind of algorithmically forced into having to talk about all these Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Star Trek, we love them. But I feel like a lot of times we're not expanding our horizons, and I feel like stagnating. Like I'm stagnating as a person because I haven't been watching any of these smaller films that I like to dive into. The last one was like Fat Man, I think I watched,
awesome.
And I loved it. I loved Fat Man. But then again, also everyone was talking about Fat Man, so it's like, okay, cool, kind of like, but that's a rarity. And I think the only reason why they were talking about it originally was because there was that big push to kind of cancel the movie because of Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And that took away from how good the movie was. So it's just, everything is controversy. Everything is a fight. And I give into it sometimes, unfortunately. But it just, my passion for this stuff is true. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, I don't try to sell people agendas. I try not to. But I appreciate that you picked up on that, because I feel sometimes that I'm up against the wall. Like I get stubborn, and I'm always kind of like fighting back against some bullshit, because I feel like I want people to be truthful in reporting, is the way I view it. And you can have your opinion, but when you start to push narratives that aren't real because it fills your pockets, and then people believe you, it's like, I view that as just, you're being dishonest with your audience, and then you are taking away from their experience. You are hurting their experience. And quite frankly, and pardon my language, but fuck you if you take away from somebody else's experience.
Hey now.
Because it's not who's like that's not your place, to sit there and like spew narrative after narrative, like to try to hurt someone else going to see something. Like, like I understand people will listen to people that they know and they want to get an idea whether something is good or not, but that should never be entirely everything that stops you from watching something or reading something or experiencing something, because you never know if you're going to like it. And that is one of the reasons why when I go see a movie, good or bad, I will always look for something that is good, that is entertaining, because I know what it's like to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, days, weeks, months, years working on something. And then just to have someone come out and go, it fucking sucks, and like because that diminishes everything. To find something to enjoy is a far greater thing than to find something to hate. And that's my big impassioned push. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good.
I like it.
No, for sure. I was gonna ask you, have you seen a film from like 96 or 97? It's one of my favorite all-time movies, and nobody ever talks about it. I mean, I guess by now it's like a little bit older considered, but it is sort of an underrated gem. It's with Timothy Hutton and Natalie Portman, and it even has Rosie O'Donnell, which I will say I love. Even, if you can show me a movie where I actually don't hate Rosie O'Donnell, I will love that movie forever. And
Flintstones,
you know what?
Another stakeout, A League of Their Own. I like Rosie O'Donnell in movies. I won't.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, but this film, though, I mean, every time, I show it to, I remember in college, when I was back in college, and I showed it to all my friends in my dorm mate. They love the hell out of this movie. And it's a movie called Beautiful Girls. And I honestly, even though as much as you love films, Matt, even I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't heard about it, because no one has. But I will introduce it to you now.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It grossed 2.8 million during its opening weekend and 10.6 million worldwide. So yeah. Wow, but look at the cast. Matt Dillon,
it's stacked,
Lauren
man.
Holly, Martha Plimpton, who you gotta love from Goonies, Michael Rappaport, Mira Sorvino, and Uma Thurman. Wow. Although you could, I have to check this one out.
Yeah, it's a hell of a movie. I promise you that you will love it. It's very good. It is one of those very underrated films. I'm glad that they never made a sequel, obviously, considering the box office. Why would they? But there was actually a show that came from the same writer, and it was inspired by the making of that movie, and it was called October Road. And it came out in 2006. It was on ABC. It had like Tom Berenger, and God, I can't, honestly, he was probably the biggest star in that show. But it's just one of those sort of like coming of age stories for like middle age, or not like middle age, but probably like mid to late 30s guys. And this is gonna sound a little bit not like sus or whatever, but like so basically one of the best subplots in that film, which everyone who has seen it sort of like basically holds up this subplot as one of the best in it. It's it's all the interactions between Timothy Hutton's characters his character and Natalie Portman. At the time, Natalie Portman was around, like 12 or 13, very young. So
in 96, I think she was like, about maybe 14 or 15.
Yeah. So, but basically, she plays her age. She's a young teenager in that film. Timothy Hutton is like pushing 40, I think, in that film. But they have such great chemistry and great interactions with each other. And I like sort of the way that I'm describing it doesn't do any justice. You have to watch it, but it's really, really good. Sort of a dramedy, takes place in a small town. Great film.
There's a movie like that for me. It's called Angus.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it came out in 94, and it didn't do well, but I watched it like a couple times in theaters, and I bring it up every so often. And a few months ago, I did a video like 19 things you didn't know about Angus. Like no one ever watched it, but I showed it to the director of the movie because I followed him on Twitter, and I got DM'd on Facebook by the guy who played Angus, and he hit me up to say thank you for making that video, like to talk about this movie, in a positive way, because there's a lot of good movies that people just don't see.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And when you look at something like, I thought about this today, I was like, man, how do I talk about movies in a way that people will have access to be able to go see? Because I know Enosh and I did an episode of Patio Commentary talking about Demolition Man, which I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
And I want to do more episodes of that. I'm trying to get more people, like different people involved and whatnot. But it's like, what
wasn't good enough?
No, it was fine. But it's like, I want to actually like sit down and like, make this a thing.
Not you. It's me.
And it is you. I'm saying it's fine. You did good, but like you're not as accessible as I need, Enosh. Okay, I need accessibility. All right. Well, that's a different story. That's a way different story. Anyway, but it's like you look at something like Netflix, right? You look at like the top 10 on Netflix, and these are what 196 million households have Netflix. So this is what people are legitimately watching. But yet that doesn't ever translate to off of Netflix conversation. It's like, how do you do that? How do you find a way to tap into that market? And that's what I think about, and it's because a lot of those kind of movies I think would do really well on Netflix could get picked up and in the algorithm. Like, was it Paul Blart was in the top 10 a while back? And that was a hell of a thing. There was articles written about it. Like, why is Paul Blart trending on Netflix? And it's like, why are you focusing on this shit movie? Why not focus on like the good movie? Why not focus on like the movie that people are watching and that they are enjoying? Anyway,
absolutely.
There's a lot of kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, no, another, because one of my favorite things to discuss are like underrated films, underrated, underseen or whatever. Another one that came out in 2009 was called Push. It was with Chris
Oh,
Evans.
hell
and
yeah,
Nicole
dude.
Kidman. Love that
Hell
fucking
yeah.
movie. Love that movie.
That movie, like straight up, should have had sequels, a cinematic universe. Like that movie so well. Did you ever see that one, Enosh? Did you see Push with Chris Evans, Dakota Fanning? It was a superhero movie. It was like
was it?
It was like more like a special power. I think like mutants, like X-Men mutants type movie without there being like the government's hunting them down, and it's
say that I did.
It's a Summit movie. Summit was recent. They were the one who did Twilight. It came out. I think it came out in between Twilight and the second movie, but everyone was talking about Summit and Twilight, and ultimately Lionsgate bought out Summit. So it's a Lionsgate's movie now. But yeah, that was good. I have that on Blu-ray. I do have that one on Blu-ray.
I might have seen that back in the day. Yeah,
it was good. It was like that one, and like the Crazies is one that the remake from 2010. I love that horror movie. That's such a good movie. And that was actually directed by Breck Eisner, who also did Sahara from 2005, which I feel when you talk about adaptations, especially Indiana Jones, like kind of action adventure adaptation types from books, Clive Cussler novels are amazing for that. They are so good because they're just fun. And if you guys have never seen Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, you are missing out. It got screwed at the box office. It came out in March 2005. It's a fun ass movie.
April 2005.
Oh, it was April 2005? Okay. Well, I was close. It's been 15 years, 16
man,
years.
I told you, man. Yeah, I told you, man, I was a huge movie nerd. But I did want to bring up one really thing, and I'm not going to talk too long about it. But on the subject of from book to movies, book to film, one of my biggest disappointments, I'm not sure, Matt, if you gave a review on Meg with Jason Statham.
I haven't seen it yet.
Meg, man. I'm interviewing Steve Alton pretty soon, man. You got to see that movie. It's a good movie.
I want to see. Well, John Turteltaub directed it, and National Treasure 1 and 2. I want to see it because it's Jason Statham for one, and I'm a big Statham fan. And then also, who else is in that movie too? Like Rainn Wilson is in it.
You want
Zhang Ziyi is in it.
Said the name just as it.
Fan Bing Bing or something.
Oh.
Like so.
I wanted to say I fucking sorry, I'm gonna disagree with you. I hate that fucking movie because I love the book. I love the book.
Well, I
love the book.
You wrote the book.
The book. Okay, you know what? You can tell them I told you this or whatever. It's so different.
Well,
it's so different.
Look,
it really is.
I absolutely agree with that. Meg the movie is not what Meg the book is.
No, it's not the same thing at all.
Not even the
same.
How
many? Yeah, but come on, how many books?
Meg the movie. Look, I'm not a Jason Statham fan at all, but Meg the movie is just a fun. It's a fun thing. It's a fun romp, but it's not the serious that the book is.
So what are you saying? Like you want Meg the movie to be like Jaws, essentially, is what you're saying?
No, I mean the book.
It's hard to describe, man.
Is the book serious? Does it take it seriously? You want Jaws? Just say you want Jaws. It's fine.
No, but here's the thing, Matt. Like the book is very. It's even darker than Jaws in some parts. There's a lot more violence. There's a lot more sex. There's a lot of sex in the book, which is not what I'm complaining about in terms of the movie.
It's a PG-13. It's a PG-13 movie.
I know
that appeals to the audiences in China. That's and they're not going to be down for the brown chicken, brown cow.
It's a different story. It's like they took the shark and they just put it in a different setting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I pulled up my 4K copy of Jaws here that I need to watch on. Because this thing is, I love this movie.
Because also here's the thing, like they messed up on the casting of Jonah or whatever his name is, Jonas.
I agree.
Jonas, here's the thing. If they had made the Meg maybe like 15, 20 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, Al Pacino for him, because he has such basically. If you read the book, you can right away sort of picture Pacino in the role. Statham in the role, nothing like the character at all. Nothing. It basically turns into. And I know everyone's going to love it when I say this. It turns into a typical Jason Statham punching a giant shark movie.
Yep.
That's basically what it is. It's not the Meg. It's not the Meg.
But Deep Blue Sea has had them punching a shark. I mean,
where? When?
At the end of the they stab it in the eye with a cross.
Well,
It's
okay,
LL
yeah,
Cool J. It's how he defeats the shark at the end of that movie.
Deepest, bluest, my head is like a shark fin.
But I
mean,
like Deep
head
Blue
is
Sea
like a
though.
shark.
I liked it.
I
I
like
liked
Deep
it.
Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea 2
I didn't see it.
absolutely sucked. And Deep Blue Sea 3 I have not seen.
I haven't seen. Yeah, like some of those movies I just don't check out. Some of those. I will say though, the sequel, the franchise that has like the best worst sequels, Tremors. I love this. I love Tremor sequels though. I think they're fun. They're stupid and they're fun, and I love them.
Samuel Jackson's death scene in Deep Blue Sea is
It was great.
It's fabulous. It's just
what's the name?
It's great.
I think it was like 12 or 13. Yeah, 12/99 when Deep Blue Sea came out. That scene, I was watching that movie with my mom because it was an R-rated movie, so it was the only way I could go in. When I was watching it, and that scene, I know you guys are gonna remember that scene when I'm talking about when Saffron Heroes, when she electrocutes the shark. You remember what she does in order to electrocute that shark?
No, it's been a long time.
Okay, I'll just say it. She basically unzips her wetsuit and she's in her underwear, basically. When I was watching that, I was 12 years old. I suddenly became a lot more invested in the film. I'll tell you that. But no, I mean, just in general, though, I do love Deep Blue Sea. I like Deep Blue Sea. For me, that's the last great shark movie. Meg, I'm sorry, man. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie.
Tom, let me ask you this. If you get in the water, do you get smaller?
I get smaller.
Only cold water.
Oh, only cold water. Okay.
Yeah, cold water, probably.
There's shrinkage involved?
Cold water. Well, I'm always wearing a Speedo when I go in, so.
I was just wondering. I mean, you are Tom Hanks Ballsack, 69.
So this is Saffron Burrows and Deep Blue Sea. This is what you're talking about? This is what you're talking about right here? Okay.
That's a man, baby. No.
Dude, Saffron Heroes is another star that I read something interesting about her that she actually quit high school or was bullied throughout high school and she quit it because she's bullied the whole time because she was so tall that apparently like all the kids there made fun of her. She got harassed a lot. I don't know, random.
Isn't that what happened to like Lily Sobieski as well? Like she was, she was big back in the late '90s, and then she just kind of dropped off the map, right?
Yeah,
I remember having a big crush on her after Deep Impact. So
another underrated film that Lily was in with Paul Walker and Steve Zahn was Joyride. Have you seen
Joyride?
That?
Love
that is
Joyride.
Such a great movie. It's really suspenseful. Really, like the whole scene. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
The whole scene with the pedophiles and shit. Like, no, I'm sorry. I got it wrong. I was thinking of Running Scared. But no, Joyride is good. Didn't they do like a whole bunch of sequels to that as well?
They did, and I saw the second one. It was awful. I didn't bother.
Kind of like a Wrong Turn. Remember Wrong Turn with Eliza Dushku, and they did like 6 of them, but they were pretty profitable on home video, and they did 6, and then now they're rebooting it. They're kind of just restarting the franchise. Like, if it's like, what are you doing? Like, what? It's like so stupid.
I mean, that's the thing, but yeah, Joyride was honestly that whole scene where I think Paul Walker and Steve Zahn, like they're outside, and Steve Zahn has been like hooked or whatever. He's been placed on the hook by Rusty Nail, and then the truck lights turn on, and you see him speeding towards him, and he's trying to get his brother off of the hook. So fucking suspenseful, man. That film is really well made. I don't understand why more people didn't see it. I know it bombed when it came out.
It really is. It's kind of like, Paul Walker in The Skulls, right? Like, who was in that? You had Joshua Jackson was in that one. And then you had Leslie Bibb, I believe, was the lead, and like those movies were kind of coming out like a diamond. Those kind of horror movies, they come and they go. They just come and they go. It wasn't really until like Blumhouse came into the picture that they started kind of putting out these small budget movies that, for the most part, have actually done really well. Like the only one of Blumhouse's that it's kind of gone to shit was the Black Christmas remake, because like it butchered the original. But I don't know. I think like I got a press release from Shudder the other day. They're releasing 11 horror movies, one a week for the next 11 weeks or next 10 weeks or whatever. So they've got 11 original horror movies that they're putting out on Shudder. It's like, if you're looking for original content, Shudder's dropping it left and right, and they're putting out good content with key like horror people involved. So there's a lot there's a lot of good stuff out there that I think people are kind of waiting to get exposed to in many cases. And I think because of the way that we look at movies now and the way that we see them, what comes out, what's popularized, a lot of people just miss a lot of shit. And we're not these. I just wish there was. I remember Boondock Saints. You guys ever see Boondock Saints?
Oh yeah,
right. You haven't seen? Okay, so it's like Boondock Saints was it's a very popular cult film. There's a documentary about how it was made. I'll just summarize it. The guy who wrote it sold the script to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was like, listen, I believe in this property so much. I'm going to let you first time direct it. You get to write it. Your band can make the soundtrack. And we're going to go halvesies on the bar you worked at when you sold me the script. So you can then co-own this bar with me. That is what Harvey Weinstein was promising Troy Duffy at the time. And Duffy's ego destroyed this movie. And he went from getting a $30 million budget to having to deal with an $11 million budget. But Norman Reedus and Willem Dafoe and I forget the name of the other guy in the movie, Sean something or another. Sean Flanagan, I think it was right. But the guy was in Indiana Jones, young Indiana Jones. But anyway, it came out and it went to Blockbuster. And college kids started renting it and they started talking about it and sharing it amongst their friends, kind of like The Room and even Clerks. A small movie that came out, got no buzz in theaters, hit home video, but it was being shared around. Everyone was talking about it. That's what I think that is an element of something that needs to be focused on a lot more in the future is promoting, look at Fat Man. It got some play. It's got Mel Gibson. It's a name. Walton Goggins, a name, but it came out and people started talking about it and going did you see this movie? This is really good. And sharing it and sharing it and sharing it. And from there, it's been getting popularized to where people are writing fan fiction, kind of tweets to the director, hey, what if in this next movie, this happens, cause they just like the concept of it being weird. I even pitched to the director of Fat Man. I'm like, what if Fat Man has to hunt down the Easter Bunny cause he's high on MK Ultra, a shit pitch. And he's like, that's kind of funny. And then he brought it up. Actually, he brought up the Easter Bunny in a live stream with the Film Junkie about doing that. And I hit him up and I was all like, haha, that was me. And he's like, yeah, pretty much, so it's that kind of thing where the directors engage with the actors, or engage with the fans, like Zack Snyder's doing with Snyder Cut. And Ray and, a bunch of other people are coming in and talking with the fan base. That just sells these movies. Absolutely. And I feel like it's so PR these days that it's just, who gives a shit about another look. I don't want to disparage people that do this for their jobs, they go to these press junkets, but do you care about press junkets? Do you ever care about what's there? No, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Oh, there's this one line of, oh, that's kind of cool. Otherwise I'm I don't, though that's not interesting to me. These controlled environments, they're not interesting. You can't get into the rough and tumble of the movie, even if they may not be able to tell you everything, but you miss out on this selling of the product through the passion behind the product, Yeah,
for sure.
There's a spiritual advisor, I guess you may want to call this guy, motivational speaker. His name is Dr. Wayne Dyer. He passed away a number of years ago, but he said this line and I loved it. He says, people buy your music, not your words. And that's true. They buy your passion. So if you're passionate about something, they are more inclined to buy it.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
for sure.
That's my rant on that one. But hey man, I do I'm running way over what I need and my camera is about ready to overheat and shut down. So I'm going to let you go. I got to get to the last person of the night and then from there we'll wrap it up. But I appreciate you coming on in, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, wait, Matt, I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
Really quickly. So I heard, obviously, I'm I don't have a presence on YouTube or anything like that, but I've been hearing interesting rumors about the upcoming Black Panther sequel, and obviously, I think at this point we all know Namor will probably be featured in it. I've heard who has actually been signed for a while to play Namor. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly. Rodrigo Santorino or something. He played the he was in Lost. And he played
the guy played Xerxes in 300.
Yes.
I think his name's Rodrigo Santoro, I think.
Yeah, supposedly he signed a contract last year or the year before to play Namor. And then Ben Affleck's girl, what's her name? Anna de Armas. She supposedly, I've heard that she is going to be playing his love interest or his girl in the movie.
People want her to play Catwoman.
Yeah, well, no, here's the thing. So I know I've heard that Namor the film will be. I've heard that it will be primarily Latino cast. Whereas most people thought it would be like, you know, Namor would be like played by an Asian guy or whatever. But I've heard actually that otherwise. I heard it's mostly Hispanic. I don't know. I mean, I want to pass the information along to you, anything like that. But I
haven't heard anything. But given that they have like Shang-Chi and have that be Asian influenced, and then you've got Black Panther, obviously African influenced, I could see them having it be, you know, if you look at the concept of of like Atlantis and like where, according to Plato in general, where he believed Atlantis laid. If you look at the old writings, it was more in the Caribbean, right? It was more like it was more near the equator. Some people think more north, but some people believe like the equator. In fact, there was a documentary a number of years ago that National Geographic put out where they were tracking Atlantis, and they believe that they found the city that Atlantis was based off of. And it was actually in like right off of it was in Spain, in Portugal area. And it was like right there. And then that would also, if that is what they're going off of, then it would make absolute sense to have an actor of Latino descent playing in that particular role. It would make absolute sense to have that. So, and you know, it's like, so yeah, if that's what they're going for, I could see that being a reality.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I don't want to keep you rolling, but it's just that, Matt, I feel bad for you because I don't want Andy to ignore. I hate that guy. And I hate the fact that he keeps dropping these scoops. I wanted to give you something that I heard. I also heard this, and then I'll go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but
that's okay. It's all good. It's all good, dude.
So I know that we've all been salivating for Blade MCU information, rumors, stuff like that. Here's what I've heard. And so take this with a grain of salt, obviously, because, you know, whatever. But I've heard that they've got the story figured out, that instead of being about vampire hunters, or vampires, it's going to be more of the supernatural route. You remember Rachel McAdams' character from the first Doctor Strange, Christine Palmer? She supposedly will be the main antagonist for the Blade film. However, it's not going to be them versus her actual character, per se. She will be inhabited or possessed by a demon goddess that I think is called Lilith. I think is in the comics she's like a Blade villain or whatever. Which is how Doctor Strange will be tied into it, and that makes sense given that Doctor Strange and Blade are both supernatural. I've also heard that in my mind it sort of sounds like a Hellboy team, because supposedly they're going to be teaming up Blade with another team of super monster hunters, something like that, in the film. So he won't be alone, supposedly. I don't know. I mean, to me, it kind of sounds a little bit like Blade Trinity meets Hellboy, but that's basically what I've heard.
Could be pretty good. That could be okay. I mean, you know, I think we all want more Hellboy. So, you know, I'd be down with more Hellboy. Either you know, Ron Perlman, who I would love to see, or I would love to take another crack at David Harbour in the role. I thought he was pretty good, and I say that because I even got Hellboy in 4K right here. So
yeah, for sure.
Well, if I can find it for cheap, if I buy them if they're cheap, that was like $10. So I figured it was good investment to get. But all right, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go. But thanks for the scoops, and we'll definitely talk again soon.
See you, buddy.
All right, thanks, man.
Have a good one, man. I'll see you later. Peace out.
9.
All right. And then finally, Underhaven Animancer, man. Thanks for waiting. I know you wanted to come in last.
Oh yeah, I've just been playing games until then. But yeah, I just want to I want to get your opinion on something. Ask a bit of a fucking hypothetical, because you and I were talking earlier. Like we both agree that DC is in fucking shambles, and I didn't think it was gonna get any worse after we found out. Like there was a brief period of time where we thought that both Affleck and Cavill were out as the role, and I was feeling like, God damn, like could it get any worse than this? And I think it's officially gotten worse. So I have a question for both of you. If you were given the ability to greenlight one DC film project and handpick the director to get things maybe not back on track, because I don't even think one movie can fix it at this point, but to get things going in a good direction, what would you go with? Have you ever had any ideas?
I think it'd be really cool. I probably would want a Batman Beyond, to be honest with you.
That's a good choice.
Just because, for one, like I love the cartoon for 2 decades. And then also I think it'd be really cool to see what they can come up with like the neo-noir aspect of Gotham in the future. And I think honestly, the director I'd want to see handle it would be Denis Villeneuve, the guy from Blade Runner and Dune. I think if you took him and Roger Deakins and you took that aesthetic over to a very kind of like pop neo Gotham,
that could be something really unique. I feel like that's what DC needs.
Yeah,
Something
it would
really
be. It would be. Yeah, kind of like. I mean, this can sound weird, but kind of like James Wan and Aquaman, right? And I say that because it's like when you think about the concept of Aquaman, you think about the like how they brought it over. Like, how would they? Like, there's always that joke. How the fuck would you make Aquaman? You know, I mean, how would you do it? And they even made fun of it in the show Entourage in the first season. Adrian Grenier ends up being Aquaman, and the movie ends up grossing more money than Spider-Man at the time, which was a funny little joke in the show. But then you go and you actually watch Aquaman, and you're like, oh wow, it made more money than Spider-Man 1, you know, crossed the billion mark. But what he did is he took the concept of kind of like a swashbuckling adventure type, and he made it colorful, and he made it vibrant, and he made it alive, made it feel alive. And he introduced different characters and different species and different groups that were all visually different from one another. And then mixed it together in like some really excellent CG and some also really good camera work, like the scene with Nicole Kidman beating the crap out of those guys in the house at the beginning. So I love Aquaman. I don't get the hate for that movie at all. People always go, Aquaman sucked. I'm like, no, whatever.
The people who hate that movie have a bias against DC. Even people who generally don't like DC like Aquaman.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, look, as much as I love Marvel, it's like as far as throwaway characters getting their own movies, I know it's Aquaman. Is, you know, in my mind, he's always kind of been throwaway. But in this particular case, I think Momoa sold it. He sold kind of the fish out of water idea.
Oh, you know what? Whatever, dude.
No. I mean, no, it's a pun. It's a bit of a pun, but it's true. The concept was a fish out of water. He went to Atlantis.
No, you're right.
He had never been there. So he's experiencing this as he's kind of coming into this his own prophecy or his own destiny, if you will. But the way that they designed the movie, that they made it work, that it felt fresh. It felt new. It felt different, but also familiar. And the way Wan was able to make it work just shows you the talent that man has. Like, I love James Wan as a director.
Yeah.
And I think he knows how to tell a good story. And this was him out of his element a little bit. Same with Fast and Furious 7. Him coming in to do Fast and Furious 7 was like, really? You're going to get the guy from Saw and The Conjuring to come and do, all right. And then you get to Fast 7. You're like, that was solid. It was solid. It was good. Even with the death of Paul Walker, they made it work. They did a lot of work to make it work. And I think James Wan's approach to it really kind of sold it. And again, I think if we can get someone to tackle Batman Beyond that does it in a visually aesthetic way that sets the tone, it could be a darker and grittier story, because the Batman Beyond animated show was darker. You know, it was definitely darker.
Very true.
And so give us a bit of that. Add a little bit of levity in there. As always, these things kind of need it occasionally, because you need a lot of that, you know.
Something to give people a little bit of hope, because honestly, like Aquaman and Shazam gave me hope for the DCEU for the first time in a while. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like imprinted in the story, but I mean like an actually like quality movie. That's what's going to give people hope, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
You're right. A little bit of levity in there too. You know?
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, you don't need Batman telling jokes, but you could have like some kind of turn of, you know, like wordplay, a pun, something that is just done in a very cynical, gruff sort of way. And that's going to be, you know, Batman going, you know, just kind of making a side joke rather than, oh, that's going to leave a mark.
Also, usually when it comes to Batman, a lot of the personality and like humor comes from his fucking villains, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the villains, the rogues gallery of villains in Batman is one of the reasons why Batman is as popular as he is.
Oh yeah,
because
definitely 100%.
Villains make the hero, and in many situations, I feel like they kind of overlook that. So that's why I give credit.
Best rogues gallery, hands down.
I do, you know, and I do, but I also think that like Flash has a lot of good ones in his as well.
He does, you
know, and it's like, I mean, I really like the show for how they would play that up, you know, especially introducing Captain Cold. And then, Wentworth Miller did a great job, and then bringing him along and allowing his character to evolve. Like they'll let the Arrow shows evolve a little bit, but they won't let the movies do because they're afraid of all that stuff.
DC literally has limitless potential for storytelling that they're just sitting on and just doing almost nothing with. It's really, really sad.
It's pretty sad. Yeah,
that's a perfect take on it right there. I think for me, besides just really wanting a Man of Steel 2, I think I would have said, if it hadn't been made yet, I would have said Shazam, because I think Shazam is one of those things that, like, I love that movie. And I know that there's a lot of current, DC fans that I think they see that movie as threatening to the Snyderverse for some reason. And
it's the end. It's the ending, honestly. That's the only reason. I get it, but it's a great movie. It fits in the universe.
But see, for me, I see it not as the ending, honestly, because I see it as the what is he, 14 in that movie?
Yeah.
I see it as the 14-year-old boy who lives in the world of Zack Snyder's universe. You know what I mean? So like I see it as I think that Shazam character could absolutely fit into a Snyderverse scenario, because that's who Shazam is supposed to be. That's who Captain Marvel is supposed to be. He's supposed to be that kid who doesn't quite fit in with the adults in the room.
I totally agree that it fits in. I just wanted to make clear when I said that it was gonna like the ending, I meant like the Henry not Henry Cavill cameo.
Yeah. And I get that part of it, but I mean, there's people I know who just hate on the movie just to hate on it, and I don't get that part, because I feel like man, like that's who like I said, Captain Marvel is supposed to be. That's who Shazam is supposed to be.
It's perfect for what it had to be.
Because if you take that character and you plop him into a Justice League type of scenario where you have all these other characters are going to be running around all serious and adult like and everything, and then you have 14-year-old, however old he's going to be by the time they actually get around to making that movie, but you have that and that innocence, and there needs to be that brightness, like you just said. Like it doesn't have to kill the movie just because it's got some some lightness to it, you know what I mean? But also
not at all.
But there's a lot of darkness in the Shazam movie, to be quite honest with you.
Oh my! It felt like an 80s movie.
Darkness. Oh my gosh! There's between the 7 deadly sins, people dying. I mean, a guy gets thrown out of a window. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
I saw an attempt to put out an actual parental advisory on that for the ballroom, or like the boardroom scene and stuff, because that was I saw it at the early screenings that they put out, and yeah, a lot of people were like, ooh, that's a little bit on the darker side, and I was like, ooh, this feels like a 1980s movie. And again, David F. Sandberg, the guy has his origins in horror, and he played to that strength really well in regards to those characters in the movie, and they didn't shy away from a lot of the other violence. And I think some movies, they do that a little bit, but this one didn't. I just think Shazam is super underrated.
And that's the potential that DC has to be different from Marvel, is that type of, raw, unfiltered storytelling.
And the fact that it got sandwiched between Captain Marvel and Endgame, didn't really help, I think, either.
Yeah, and also the fact that it got compared so much to Captain Marvel didn't help, because they're both Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the fact that there was actual stakes in Shazam, and that there was character growth in Shazam, and that you actually liked the supporting cast.
It was an actual movie and not just a prequel to Endgame.
Yeah, well, God. Right. I know. I mean, I love Sam Jackson and Captain America. I did. Or Captain Marvel. See, it doesn't matter. And Brie Larson, I can go back and watch it again, but knowing that movie has absolutely nothing, there's nothing at stake ever at any point in it.
Nope.
It just diminishes the film. I will say though, Talos is awesome. So I love Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. I loved his little cameo at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in Secret Wars or Secret Invasion, whichever one they promoted. I forget.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, man. Right. I know you want to wrap things up. So
yeah, it's almost midnight here, and I got some video games to play.
All right, man. You take it easy. Have a good night.
I'll see you later, dude. Thanks for coming on by, man.
Good talking to you.
Okay, that's good conversations tonight. Thank you very much, Enosh, for coming on in. I know you've had a little bit of technical issues, from what I can tell.
A little bit, yeah. I've kind of got I'm out here in the living room tonight, so you know.
No, it's all good, dude. It's all good. And we've had a large fluctuating number. It's gone over 100. It's gone down to like 65, back up to over. It's been getting a lot of people coming on in. So that's pretty cool. I really appreciate it. And you know, we've got people who have been sitting here for the entire time too. So thank you very much to everyone who's commented. Thank you to everyone who called in. I know I didn't get to everybody, and I apologize for that. But you know, my camera is going to overheat about 3 hours, so I got to be careful on that one. And all right, so Hollywood After Dark, man, another day, another episode. Covered a lot of stuff. And so Enosh, you got where can people find you, at least for right now? Where can they find you for right now?
For right now, you can find me obviously on Twitter, Poindexter Lounge, just with no E in the middle. And then I'll be hanging out. Like I think I'm gonna probably you know, if I don't get the channel back up right away and I have to wait the full week, which I'm hoping I don't, but you know, I'll probably throw some stuff on Twitch this week, and you know, and I need to boost my Twitch followers anyway, so that I can get whatever that is. I don't know, it's verified. I don't know what.
Yeah, you get like partner status, or you get whatever, and
so I need a couple more people over there anyway. So so if you haven't subscribed to me over on Twitch, please go over on Twitch, just at, you know, Poindexter Lounge. And then also, you know, I'll probably do a Periscope thing or whatever, you know, just to.
For right now, because Periscope's going to die here pretty soon.
Exactly. So you just can't keep me down. I'm going to do something, you know, but in the meantime, I'm going to work on some other projects and stuff, but, you know, and hope that like the major, like, you know, breakthrough stuff news doesn't come out, you know, in the week that I'm unable to stream or be on there. Do anything.
No, I get you, man.
Things, you know, releases this week, right? Of course, you know, whatever, but.
Well, that, you know, you could always like stream over to Facebook or something like that as well. There's you know, build that up. There's a lot of different avenues for it.
Yeah.
But really, it's like as much as I love YouTube, it's like I feel like it's, as far as streaming goes, it can be hit or miss. But I'm thankful that you know, just kind of throwing this up and having some conversations, and we get a decent audience, people that come on in and that want to that listen. And there's actually a fair amount of people who watch the VOD too. I'm really happy with that. I'm really thankful for that.
Like, if you just like to listen, you can find us Poindexter Lounge over on Anchor. We offer everything.
I need to do that too. I keep forgetting to like set up. I keep downloading the audio tracks. I'm like, I'm gonna make it a podcast. I'm just gonna put it up there.
Okay.
But because I had a guy comment on Facebook as we were going. He's just like, I like to unwind while listening to these. And I'm like, that's what I like. I listen to a lot of you guys when I'm driving around, and I'll be honest, I hate that. Because I'm driving and I'm engaged in the conversation, and then I'm making deliveries and I got to like get out of my car, and go and like get the food. And sometimes it's like 20 minutes I have to wait for someone's order, depending on how bad the weather is, and then go to their house or whatever. And I'm like, you guys are like making a good point. And I'm like, I got it. God, son of a bit.
You come back,
you know, and I'm like, pause. And then I'm watching the chat, as you know, when I'm stopped and I'm not physically driving the car, and then I see the chat talking about something totally different. I'm like, crush up, you know. So at least yeah, I get it. So but everyone's streaming these days. Everyone is just doing nothing but streaming. But that's okay.
Well,
that's all right.
It's almost like pre-recorded videos are dying. Like, just, you know what I mean?
Feels like it.
People want people definitely want they like the interaction.
Yeah.
Instead of just hold something, they want this interaction and kind of to feel part of the conversation.
And so many YouTubers don't ever talk to anybody.
I know. I love that, man.
Like, I don't. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that absolutely hate my ass, but I still put the link in. I'm like, all right, come on in. Like, well, you know, we'll have a conversation, and whatnot. And I'm down with that. Like, it's. I don't see the point of like doing this and not talking to people. The hardest part for me is like responding to the comments. Because I read all the comments that come in. I try to heart them, but I don't always have time to like comment back on everything. And again, with so many of them being hidden by YouTube that I can't access in the app, it just makes it a pain in the ass. So I'm like, you get the Facebook page, but then I'm like terrible at updating that too. So it's one of those things. But anyway, all right. So yeah, you'll be back in hopefully a couple days, hopefully sooner than that, getting your stuff situated. And then
I'll be back to doing, you know, what I do is, you know, campaign for that Trench movie by James.
Yeah. Yep, gotta get Cyborg in that Trench movie because what
Trench movie. Wouldn't he rust with the salt water?
Yeah, probably. But that would be a challenge he'd have to overcome, right? It would have to be it's a disability, and Ray's an actor and he likes to act, so he could portray.
Be great. I'd love it.
Yeah, like salt rusting, and its impacts on the what is he a technopath? Is that what he's called? Is it a technomancer or a technopath? Like what is his? It's called something, right? Like he's got the ability.
I don't know.
Either way, you could tie it into making it all about.
God, William, please keep Joss Whedon away from Superman.
Oh no, William's a troll, man.
I know.
Oh my God, you should see the comments he leaves on the videos.
I know. I just looked down and I just saw Joss Whedon's Superman, and I just was like, well, that's the end of the world for me. You can't really find me anywhere after that. I'll just I'm going to heaven.
I think I don't think Joss Whedon is going to touch superhero stuff for a while, to be honest with you. So I think we're okay.
He'll probably be busy touching other people. So
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, like I know what I've been told, but that's neither here nor there. And it was a long 6 years.
Touching superheroes?
No, well,
reaching out.
Technically,
well, yeah,
yes.
Not really super, but good with their hands.
Technically, yes. That's what I was told. We'll have to wait and see if that story ever comes out. But if it does, I can be like, ha ha ha. Anyway, let's see. Jack here says, Trench, the rise of the salt rust. There we go. There we go. That's going to be the movie that no one's asking for with Hamada.
Wouldn't it be interesting, though? Wouldn't it be interesting if that's the part in Justice League where, like Cyborg is like walking like.
Oh, he had to go to the bottom of the trench, get the mother box.
Yeah.
He's just like all jacked up and he's just all like gummed up at the works. Yeah. I could see that being a reality. I could see that being a thing. But all right, everyone. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, since there's still 64 of you in here, I would hope that you all would smash the F out of that like. I mean, treat it like you would Walter Hamada right now and just slap some sense into that like only one time, only once, but make it count. And if you want, if you want to help support the channel, you could become a channel member, get your name here on the list alongside awesome people like the ones you see and my father, who I appreciate funding this expedition. I think he pays for it because I supply him with grandchildren. That's the payout. So he wants to spend time with his grandkids. What can I say?
Like he supports the Patreon, and
he does actually support the Patreon. I'm not making that up. He actually does.
That's
awesome. I'm all like, I have to laugh. I mean, I love my dad. I think he's helpful. He's very helpful. But I just get a kick out of that because I'm always like, my dad funds my Patreon. Yeah.
Hey man.
Like, thanks, Dad.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, smash a like, subscribe to Enosh. I would prefer you to subscribe to Enosh because he's a good dude and deserves the help. And then we'll talk again. I'll probably come on tomorrow night. I mean, there we go. There was the camera. There's the camera. I said about 3 hours it lasts, and it's 2 hours. Yeah, there we go. I told you guys it was going to happen. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you again, and peace out.